What is up, everybody? Welcome to DFS by the Numbers and welcome to Stat Diggers for UFC Seattle. We have Song Yadon going against Henry Cejudo in what has to be the most cursed card in UFC history. We've had fight cancellation after fight cancellation after short notice replacement after short notice replacement. We lost, in my opinion, two of the three best fights. We still have the fluffy Brendan Allen fight, which is the best fight on the card, but we lost Edson Barbosa going against Steve Garcia. Steve Garcia will not get a replacement, so we lose Steve Garcia, which is a massive hit. And then we also lost Billy Ray Goff going against Adam Fugit. And the fight got canceled. Like, I taped the fight and I went on Twitter and the fight was canceled like right then and there. So I was pissed off, was looking forward to that fight, was looking forward to Billy Ray Goff getting back in there. So yeah, this card's taking some hits, man. This card is taking some absolute hits, but we are here on a Sunday, going to be breaking down some fights early. We have 11 fights as of now to break down. And like I said, Weezy, a ton of replacements, a ton of new guys, a ton of guys. We're just like, who the hell is this? Who the hell is Eric Mikano? Yeah. Who the hell is Julius Walker? Who the hell are some of these guys? We got Nursultan Ruzaboev's fraud ass on the card. I don't know about this one. But Weezy, what is up? Are you looking forward to UFC Seattle?
Yeah, it'll be a fun card to talk about for sure, but it's definitely not a card that I'm entirely prepared to talk about right now. It was a long weekend for me. Went down to Indianapolis to see my brother, went to a beer fest, drank entirely too much. Had a great weekend, had enjoyed the didn't even get to watch the fights, but enjoyed the results. But yeah, there's been so many fight switches on this card. We've lost, I think, 4 fights already. We've brought in 3 completely new fights with Font Matsumoto, with the Julius Walker Menefield fight, and with Ruzaboev versus who? Eric Mikano. It's Eric Mikano. So yeah, it's this thing is like, it's hard to be prepared today to talk about these fights because most of them were just made over the weekend, and I don't even have stats for a lot of these fights yet. So it's going to be an interesting card to break down, man. There's been a lot of shuffling on this one.
Yeah, I was kind of looking ahead, and I went heavy last week for UFC Vegas 102. It was my highest staked card of the year. And my thinking of it was like, I'm going to attack this card heavily. And the next week, it just looks like a complete disaster. Tons of massive favorites. Tons of, I don't know, by the time that it's all said, we might have 5 fights come Saturday with how cursed this card is. We might have the first 5-fight card in UFC history with the way this is going. So, but yeah, looking forward to breaking down some fights. As always, before we get into, if you guys could please do us a favor, like the video, subscribe to the channel. We go live every Sunday, 7:15 p.m. Eastern time. We are never late. Weston Robbins is wrong, Weston Robbins is wrong, and that's okay. It's okay to be wrong. I'm wrong sometimes. Weezy's wrong sometimes. Weston Robbins, he's wrong sometimes, and he's definitely wrong about us being late because it's just not true. But yeah, Weezy, me and you had a really, really good night last night, especially you. So let's do a quick recap of UFC Vegas 102. And by the way, violence is officially back. Yesterday on the card, they announced that those trash ass gloves will never be used again, starting with last night's card. And what do you know? The curse gloves are since the curse gloves are done, me and you both got a nice win. So yeah, no more trash gloves. I'm very happy about that.
We needed it, man. It's so hard to bet overs, man. It takes a lot out of you as a gambler, and when you can bet those unders, it makes it. I'm just more comfortable betting unders. So I can't wait now to feel like I don't like. There's not something that's gonna force fights to go over anymore. So hopefully we start to get those numbers back. Those violence numbers back.
Yep. Do you want me to recap my card first?
Yeah, you go ahead first.
Yeah, I'll go first. Okay, so yeah, it was a solid night. Like I said, 13 units in. 3.11 units return. So we talked a lot about the Mays Walker fight, right? And the line was very interesting. Walker was minus 200 all week, and then the weigh-ins happened, and then Walker shoots from like minus 200. I think it was like minus 325, something like that. And the reason I think that was man, Dontel Mays just showed up in the worst shape of his entire career. It looked like he hadn't even trained. He didn't look ready. Dontel Mays typically in solid shape, right? But it just looked awful on the scale. And on the flip side, we have Walter Walker, who he looked in the best shape of his life. I went back and saw his weigh-in from the Bresky fight and compared it side by side. Completely different guys. So I was not going to bet on that fight until I saw that Dontel Mays did not train for this one. And once I saw that, I ended up placing a 1-unit bet on Walter Walker to win inside the distance at plus 210. It was disgusting. It was a disgusting bet, but God, was it easy? Was it very easy? Walter Walker takes him down in the first 30 seconds, goes for a heel hook, and Dontel Mays is tapping shortly after. I was laughing my ass off. Like, how does that even happen, Dontel Mays? And I even had to make a tweet, and the tweet was, I had to bring it back. How ass is Dontel Mays? Because how does it happen? And this is how ass Dontel Mays is. And that is, I went and I had to find the biggest ass I could find. It took me a couple minutes to find an ass that big, but how does that even happen? How does it even happen? So started the night.
Jeans are working harder than Dontail worked last night. Let me tell you that right now.
It was incredible. It was incredible. So I felt really good to cash that bet because I was not going to bet the fight. It was kind of like a post weigh-in read, and the read was absolutely correct. Shout out to Walter Walker. Next, and this is what hurt the most last night. So Vince Morales going against Elijah Smith, and the whole community, I think, Weezy deserves a CLV trophy for the Vince Morales money line. Was around plus 200. I got in at plus 187. You got in at like plus 180. It just kept closing and closing. And I think Morales even closed as like a slight favorite or a pick 'em. So we got the CLV in hand. And that was the most frustrating fight of the night. So I had that money line at plus 187. What I also had was Vince Morales to win in round 2 and Vince Morales to win in round 3. And it's what I do best, getting a ton of value on these losers. It was so close to being finished. Vince Morales had a couple very tight chokes. I think he had a Darce in at one point. He even went for a Peruvian necktie, which he got on the regional scene as well. So yeah, Vince Morales was very close to submitting Elijah Smith. The chokes were very deep. The chokes were in, but Elijah Smith fought tough and was able to fight out of them. And then in the third round, there was like 15 seconds left. Vince Morales goes for a choke, and it looks like that's even close. So was very close to hitting Morales round 2 at plus 1,500. Was very close to hitting Morales round 3 at like plus 2,200. If either of those hit, it's a 10-plus unit night, including the money line hit as well. So that was very frustrating. And I can't believe Morales lost to Smith last night. I mean, he came out there with a great game plan. Initially, I thought in the first round, he started pressuring, but he just didn't do anything with that pressure. He was very hesitant to let his hands go. Officially, it was 19-19 in significant strikes, but I could have swore that Elijah Smith was just outworking him in the first round. The second round was great. He started grappling, and in the third round, he forgot to grapple against Elijah Smith. I thought if he went for some more takedowns there, he could have easily won that third round, but instead he got jabbed up for the final 5 minutes. So yeah, I thought that, Vince Morales should have had a lot more urgency in that third round, kind of fighting for his job, but kind of threw the fight away, in my opinion. So lost on Morales money line, which sucked, and then lost on the 2-3, which absolutely sucked because God, they were so close. Next, I had the fight ends by submission for Rafael Estevam, and then I also had a Jesus Aguilar submission ticket at plus 1,200 for a quarter unit. Jesus Aguilar attempts 2 submissions. He jumps the gilly a lot in that fight. So I kind of got what I wanted out of that plus 1,200, but really neither of those attempts were that close. What was kind of close, though, was Rafael Estevam had a head and arm in late second round, couldn't quite get it. Aguilar showed some pretty good submission defense there. So I didn't mind the bets on the fight ends by sub or the Aguilar sub, but none of them came through. The next fight was Angela Hill going against Ketlin Souza. This was one of my more confident spots of the card, to be honest, but it did not play out how I thought. I had 1.5 units on the Angela Hill money line at minus 102. And yeah, I've been screwed a lot by the judges, but I'm happy to finally get one go my way because I'm not convinced that Hill really won that fight. It was a close fight. Angela Hill went out there with a phenomenal game plan. She looked really good early. The striking looked good. She even got a takedown. And once she got that takedown, That was the round. Ketlin Souza had no answer offer back. What was interesting after that is Angela Hill didn't really try to grapple much in that second or third round. She got a takedown in the third round. Souza was able to get back up, but yeah, for the most part, they were striking for the last 10 minutes of the fight, and it looked like Souza was getting the better of her. Like Hill was all bloodied up, all busted up, just very bad optics. And then I guess the two of the judges gave Hill the second round. And I guess that everybody gave Souza the third round. So I scored the fight 29-28 for Souza, but was able to cash the Hill money line, which I'll take it. You know, I've been screwed time and time again. I think I deserve one to go my way. Next, Jose Delgado inside the distance, 1.5 units plus 100. The fight went exactly how I expected to. The only worry for the inside the distance bet in that fight was, you know, Herzog being in there, because I'm not sure Herzog would have stopped that fight. But yeah, that was one of the worst beatdowns I think we've seen this year. My worst bet of the card was Rodolfo Vieira inside the distance at plus 108 for 1.5 units. Not even close. The fight was awful. Worst fight of the card. It was very close. I don't know who won, but Petrosky, they gave it to Petrosky. Vieira couldn't get takedowns. Vieira kind of hesitant to land his shots in the first and third round. Really not even close to finishing. So terrible bet on the Vieira fight. I had 2 units on Edmund Shabazian inside the distance at minus 125. Really wanted to go heavier on that. I mean, Edmund was like minus 500 or minus 400. The inside the distance was minus 125. I went 2 units just because it's Edmund, but he went out there and knocked him out in the first minute and a half, which he should. And then finally, I had the main event ends by knockout, minus 139 for 2 units. Another spot where I wanted to go heavier on, but the one worry would be like the Rodriguez submission, but it's never happening. Rodriguez is never ever submitting anybody in the UFC ever. You know, this guy is a phenomenal grappler, doesn't use it, doesn't try. I'll never forget that Dennis Tuolumne fight where I bet him by sub heavy, probably my heaviest sub prop, and he takes him down and lands an elbow and TKOs him. So Rodriguez is never subbing anybody. That fight ends by knockout at minus 139. Should have been a much heavier bet, but I was happy with 2 units. Overall, up 3.11 units, but if Vince Morales gets one of those chokes, it's a 10-plus unit night. So I'll take it, though. Weezy, you had a phenomenal night, including hitting a massive parlay. So do you want to recap UFC Vegas 102?
Yeah, for sure. I had 1 unit on Nazim Sadikov's money line at plus 175, cashed that with the finish. I had 1.5 units on Angela Hill's money line at minus 105, that cashed. I lost 1 unit on Vince Morales' money line at plus 170. So I was up 2.18 units on my money line bets, and then my props, I had a full unit on Shabazian by KO at plus 155. I had 2 units on Nazim Sadikov's finish-only prop against Bonfim at plus 128, so that was a 2.56 unit win. I lost a 1/4 unit on Vince Morales to win by submission at plus 750. And then the probability parlay was Shabazian inside the distance, minus 125, Delgado inside the distance, plus 100, and then the over 2.5 rounds for Cannonier versus Rodriguez. So that was minus 115. So that parlay came out to plus 573, had a full unit on that. So when all the dust settled, I was up 11.77 units. So it was an absolutely huge week. My favorite read was that I thought that Bonfim was going to win a decision. I predicted him to win a decision, but I said to myself, there's no way that Ismail Bonfim has more dog in him than Nazim Sadikov. And we know that Nazim hits really hard. He's a southpaw, and he's got great kicks. So I thought that he could, have the better long-range weapons in this fight. I knew that he was more durable, and I knew that he had more heart. And that wound up playing out beautifully. The guy got cracked once, and it was over. So, a great week. Couple things went my way, though. The over 2.5 rounds, it looked like it was close to finishing in the first round in the main event. The Hill decision went my way. But then again, the Morales, I had 1 unit on him at plus 170 and the sub prop for a 1/4 unit at plus 750. If those hit, that's another 3.5 units to the plus side. So a couple bounces went my way, one bounce didn't, but great week.
Yeah, it was a great week. Everything went according to plan. Outside of that Morales fight, I couldn't believe that. I was yelling at my TV at the dude. So, dude was fighting for his job and just threw away the fight. All right, I did do a poll in the YouTube chat. Who needs help? Because I think after last night, a couple people need help. To be honest, Dylan Budka potentially needs help. Dontel Mays, he could probably some help. Connor Matthews probably needs some help, and then Ismail Bonfim probably needs some help. And yeah, that Bonfim didn't really talk about it because I didn't have any action on it, but it was a weird fight where Bonfim was looking incredible early, and then Sadikov landed one head kick, and that pretty much ended the fight. Almost finished him. Sadikov was able to, or Bonfim was able to survive. The fight reaches the second round or the end of the round, and then Bonfim, like borderline, I don't know if he quits or what, but the body language wasn't great. He was shaking his head, yes, that he wants to fight, and then the ref just calls the fight off. So it was a weird situation, but yeah, Bonfim, he probably does need some help. Looks like Dontel Mays right now is leading for who needs some help, which that makes a lot of sense.
Dude, I agree with that.
Yeah, gosh, I mean, getting heel hooked in a minute in the UFC, it's just you don't like to see that.
Twice.
Yep, twice. Once against Cyril Gahn in the third, and then once against Walter Walker in the first. Terrible. Well, I do want to shout out the sponsor of the show, and that is Avery. Shout out to Avery there. And Avery had a monster night. Avery had some good reads himself. He was all over Cannonier, all over Angela Hill, Cannonier by knockout. So shout out to Avery Marino for sponsoring the show single-handedly, keeping Stat Diggers alive. Give him a follow at MMA_very on X. He does weekly contests. Like he did a contest 2 weeks ago, last week as well. And then, yeah, he puts out his reads. And, yeah, he's a sharp dude. So go follow Avery. Like I said, single-handedly keeping the show alive. And shout out to Yitro, who's also keeping the show alive with the 279 saying, thanks for the Sadikov pick, Wheezy. Yeah, that was a great call. Great call, especially on that finish only as well.
Yeah, the finish only. I loved it, dude. Because you've seen Sadikov fight already. You've seen this guy eat a lot of flush shots. He's not a great defensive striker, So I felt like I could trust the durability, and when I did that with Angela Hill as well. I had a 1.5 unit, 1.5 unit finish only prop on Angela Hill as well, and it's just a play off of her being the more durable fighter. Never being knocked out in the UFC against somebody in Sosa that's been finished in all 4 of her losses. So went with the Sadikov and Hill finish only props with the Sadikov cashed.
There you go. All right, let's quickly hit up the chat. The chat is rolling right now, so I'm gonna try to get through most of these. I gotta scroll up a mile, but Elijah one said, let's go up 6 units last night. There you go. Shout out to Weezy and Brady for the Stat Diggers parlay. Let's go up another 6 units. Yep, the Stat Diggers parlay came through with ease. We had Delgado money line, which when we gave it out, Weezy, he was minus 235 on DraftKings. He closed like minus 500, minus 600, and then also had the over 2.5 in the main event. Both legs were sweat free. I mean, we saw Cannonier get dropped a couple times in the first, but we knew that was probably going over, right? We got Daz in the building. What is up, Daz? Good to see you. And we had the what was the on-site piping play of the week come through as well.
Yeah, that was Delgado, and I think when we made him the on-site piping play of the week, that's when you really saw the line start to take off. It was the inaugural on-site piping play of the week, and I think that really resonated with our audience. And I think that people said, well, if they're making this the on-site piping play of the week, we got to get in here on this kid's money line. And it worked out for them.
Yeah, that was a piping if I've ever seen one. And yeah, I was watching Lambo podcast, and Tim was talking about the 50-1 Walker by Nibar. 50-1.
Unbelievable.
50-1. Crazy. Absolutely crazy. Wes is saying late again. We were not late. Were we late?
We were not late.
Bonfim quit, didn't he? Yeah, he borderline quit. Rodolfo was robbed. That fight was so awful. I think they both should have been credited with a loss. I'm not sure what's up with Andre Petroski. His last 3 fights have just been awful. He's winning. He's winning the fights, but geez, that Butka fight, that Josh Frem fight, and then Vieira fight, those were just 3. That's 45 minutes of just awful fights. So, but hey, a win is a win. A win is a win. Judges giving Hill the second round is criminal. Yeah, whenever they gave freaking Hill the decision, I was shocked. For the first reason is those decisions always go against me, and for 2, I really thought if fights are based off of damage, you got to give the win to Ketlin Souza. So I didn't understand that decision, but
I did, Brady. I did. You want to know why she got the decision?
Sal D'Amato.
Well, no, man, because Sal's my guy. Sal's my guy. But dude, it's the same thing that happened to Morales. When there's a close fight and Vegas needs one of the 2 fighters badly to win, that fighter wins. Ton of money came in on Sosa. That meant the books needed Hill to win. The judges do the work of the books, you guys. So when you see a big line move and you think that the fight might be close, where did Morales go? Plus 200 all the way to something like plus 110. Who do you think Vegas needed?
Slight favorite, yeah. They needed Smith for sure.
They needed Smith bad. And guarantee you, if it's a close fight, man, Smith's getting the nod on the scorecards. And it's the same thing that happened with Angela Hill. Vegas needed Hill. Vegas got what they needed.
Yep. We got Kyle Marley in the building. What's up, Kyle? 2 judges gave Hill round 2. Yeah, I was shocked. I was absolutely shocked. Julius, we'll talk about the newcomer, Julius Walker, very shortly. Bye, Buck. But yeah, me and Weezer were talking about last night. I think Bucka will be a solid fighter, on the regional scene. I think he'll win a lot of fights outside the UFC with his style. The dude can wrestle for 15 minutes, but inside the UFC, and he's been dealt some very tough matchups. I mean, Edmund Shabazian, Cesar Almeida. So, yeah. But I think he's solid, to be honest, as like a regional scene guy.
25. He's only 25. So, and he's taken a ton of tough fights. So if he does get cut and goes back to the regional scene, he'll probably put a winning streak together. He can get better, and he'll be back probably.
Yeah, 100%. Late against Cera. I don't believe we were late. I don't know why people keep saying this, to be honest. We lost the Macy Chiazon fight, which is fine. Yeah. Brady, how are the steroids? They're going good. My workouts have been better than ever. Still not able to put up, 325 times 10, but I'll get there. I'll get there soon.
315, just 315.
315.
That'll be so much easier.
Yeah. So the steroids are going very well. Appreciate you, Vitali. Get some help, Dontel. How is that poll going, by the way? Okay, I'm going to end the poll. It looks like help? Yeah, it looks like Dontel. It looks like half the audience think that Dontel Mays needs help. 50%, 24% think that Dylan Butkin needs help. 20% think that Ismail Bonfim needs help, and only 4% thinking that Connor Matthews needs help. So it looks like Dontel Mays gets some help, for the love of God. Let's see. Too bad Nazim wasn't wearing a foot glove from that trash company to save Ismail Bonfim from expense. That was freaking wild. Heel hook was a lock. Dontel Mays, love him for the lack of heel hook defense. Yes, it's bad, man. It's bad. Let's see. Yeah, once I saw the weigh-ins and face-offs, my confidence for Walker skyrocketed for sure. Put 2 units on Elijah at pick'em odds. He was close to tapping. Yeah, I'm not sure how those chokes didn't finish, but yeah, you did your job and you got a great line on Elijah. You waited and you got him at a pick'em. So yeah, that's a sharp move on your part. Yep, he did, especially in that first and third round, just reverted to just not doing anything, which is a complete shame. Let's see what else we got. Sorry, trying to catch up with the chat as quickly as possible. I bet Hill lied, but she looked like she was fading in the third. Yeah, the fight didn't play out how I expected at all. I thought it'd be Souza fading in the third, but it was Hill. I think Hill is starting to decline. I think we've seen that these last 2 fights now, but I'm happy I cashed the bet. Rodolfo Bellato Rodolfo, a bona fide scrub. He's a bum. Oh, so he's not happy with Vieira. Yeah, I'm not happy with that fight in general. That fight was all. I think they both need to be punished. Just an awful, terrible fight. We got checking in from Scottsdale on the treadmill. The treadmill team has arrived. Hill and Jared for Black History Month. Yeah, they both got it done. Both 40 as well.
Black don't crack parlay, baby.
Yep.
I love it.
Yep. If you voted for Uncle Weezy to Dontel Mays, get some help. But luckily, Weezy did not pull the trigger. Thank goodness, because that would have been just an awful look. So
the secret was I watched tape after Stat Diggers, and I was like, oh, no. This guy can't get up off his back, man. He's terrible.
It was a great pass. Petrosky was the lock. Absolutely not. That fight was just absolutely trash. And you could have scored it for Vieira, I thought, but it was so bad that I just don't care who the heck wins. We got Just One Baby in the chat saying, interested to hear your thoughts on Fluffy. He's making waves in the division right now. Yeah, Fluffy is, I know Uncle Weezy is probably your favorite fighter, right?
He's my favorite fighter. Yeah, I absolutely love the pace that he puts on, and he's got the durability to stay on you and take what you dish out and then just break you. He just breaks everybody right in half. It's incredible to watch.
The only thing I don't like about that fight is that it's not 5 rounds. It should be a 5-round fight.
It should absolutely be 5 rounds.
RoboCop got piped. Yeah, he got piped. He got piped. We got Bub Collins in the building with the 199 saying, what's good, fellas? A little dono to my favorite duo. Appreciate you, Bub Collins. Does go a long, long way. All right, still trying to catch up with the chat here. Let's see. I think Smith absolutely won the fight. I just thought Morales just threw it away. Didn't even try in that 3rd round. Let's see. Fluffy should roll. Fluffy by decision. All right, we're all caught up. I say we get into it here, Weezy, and we're going to start with the first fight of the card, and this bout order is definitely going to change. But right now, we'll talk about Andre Fili going against Mel Costa. We have Andre Fili, 34 years old, 5'11" with a 74-inch reach. Mel Costa, 28 years old, 5'10" with a 71-inch reach. We got Mel Costa, 6 years younger. Fili with a 1-inch height advantage and a 3-inch reach advantage. Andre Fili, he has 3-2 in his last 5 fights, a decision win against Bill Algeo, a decision loss against Nathaniel Wood, knockout win against Lucas Almeida, knockout loss to Dan Ige, and then a decision win against Cub Swanson in a fight that could have really went either way. As far as Mel Costa, he is 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Made his debut against Thiago Moises on short notice, lost that fight by 2nd-round sub. He won a decision against Austin Lingo, got knocked out by Steve Garcia brutally in the 2nd round, and then won by 3rd-round submission against Shalion Nerdenbeke. So this is the closest line fight on the card, Weezy. We have a ton of massive favorites. We have minus 800 favorites. We have minus 400 favorites, minus 300 favorites. But this looks to be, it was a straight pick. It looks like some money's coming in on Fili. So close fight here to kick off the card. And I think it's exactly that. I think it's a close fight. Mel Costa, I think at this point, he's the younger guy by 6 years. I think he's the more durable guy. I have always kind of worried about the durability of Fili. He's never officially been knocked out that much, but he has been dropped like a million times in the UFC. Looks like officially he's been knocked out 4 times. He's been submitted twice as well. So the durability of Fili at this point might be a little concerning. Didn't think the Cub Swanson fight was the best look either, but Fili definitely has the experience. He's definitely fought the better competition. So yeah, I think a round of pick'em seems accurate for this one. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, this is a great fight. And both of these guys are pretty well rounded. Both of them will go for takedowns. Both of them can grapple, and both of them are pretty powerful kickboxers too. I think it's important that it's Mel Costa as a southpaw, and I really like this guy's kicks. He can manage range with him. He can be very, very aggressive. Both of these guys actually throwing 14 distance strikes per minute or more spent at range. So they are very, very active. Both of these guys are attempting a bunch of takedowns too. You look at Fili; he's attempting 5 takedowns per 15 minutes, and Mel Costa's attempting 7.2. So I think you're going to see, while this is at range, I think Costa might actually be a little bit better. And then Fili's going to wrestle. Costa can wrestle as well, but we've seen kind of Costa get stuck on his back a little bit. He He gets 2.5 takedowns per 15 minutes, but he allows 2.9, and he gets out controlled 30% to 25%. So he definitely gives up some control time in his fights, and Feely will go out there and look to wrestle as well sometimes. Man, I think it's going to be a really difficult fight to call because I think both guys can have success in all the areas of the fight, just depending on how it plays out. But Feely definitely got the experience advantage and some measurables advantages, being 1 inch taller and having a 3-inch reach advantage. A lot more UFC experience, obviously. But when you look at the names that Costa's been out there against, he's fought some pretty good guys, and Garcia and Moises and Shayilan. So I think that he's ready for this type of a fight. I like violence here, dude. They got that under 2.5 sitting about plus 180. I could see either one of these guys getting finished. They both hit hard. Costa's got a pretty good submission game. He's got 7 wins by submission in his career. And both of these guys get finished a lot in their losses. So this is a fun fight. It's definitely going to be one of the first ones I look into heavily because it's a close line, and I want to see if anything sticks out on tape. But I might be leaning Costa here.
Yeah, and I think he's getting Feely at the right time now. Feely's 34. Not only that, but the dude's just taken so much damage. He's been in so many wars. The dude has 36 fights. So yeah, kind of leaning that way as well. But I think it's gonna be a very close fight. Feely opened up minus 200, currently minus 125. As far as Mel Costa, opened up plus 170, currently plus 105. The over-under is set at 2.5. The over 2.5 minus 220. The under 2.5 is plus 180. And I don't hate it. I feel like it's going to be like a value loser, to be honest. I feel like they're both going to hurt each other. They're going to go to like an all-out war. Maybe Herzog's in there. We're in the bigger cage. So I feel like it probably goes the distance. But yeah, plus 180 is not bad at all for these guys. These guys have been finished a ton, like you said. Feely's been finished 6 times. Malcosta's been finished 4 times. Both these guys have power. Costa has that sneaky submission game. So I think at plus 180, I wouldn't mind getting involved in that one for sure. All right. Let's see. What do we got in the chat here? And shout out to you. You guys are killing it tonight in the chat. You know, I don't think the chat's ever been this hot. It's very hot in the chat. So shout out to you guys. This is the only pick and fight. The lines are crazy this week. Everyone's -5. Yeah, the Parlay boys are back in town. We got Just Win, baby, with a $5 dono. Shout out to Just Win, baby. MMA is saying, let's all do a dono. Get enough going for some crack.
Let's go.
For some crack, or at least an 1/8 of bud for the boys. I'd rather have some bud. I don't really want to do crack.
Not a crack enthusiast, Brady.
Not a crack. I'm already on steroids. I think I'm already hurting my health enough. If I started doing crack mixed with the steroids, might get some weird results. Very weird results. Brady hates me. No, I was trying to get to the chat, man. There was like hundreds and hundreds of messages. So I didn't mean to skip anybody. So no, I do not hate you. I do not hate you whatsoever. Fade the Costa. Feely has no chance. He gets dropped. How many times has Feely been dropped? Feels like it's a lot.
He's been dropped 6 times in 23 fights. It's really not that big of a number, actually, just because it's about 0.6%. Like Costa, for instance, he's being dropped on 1% of the significant strikes that he absorbs. So it's actually a higher ratio for Costa. But yeah, Feely's been knocked out 3 times. And the recent knockout loss to Ige, you don't want to get hit by that dude. He's got bricks for hands, and he puts people out. So that's a bad knockout. Feely's getting old too. 34 years old, 36 professional fights, 23 fights at the UFC level. He's got a lot of miles on that engine of his.
Yep, he does. We got Cole Stein saying Stat Digger Sunday. Let's go. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you, Cole. I guess Brady hates because I said his beard is patchy. It's just not true. My beard is not patchy. You know, I can grow a beard in 24 hours. Like my beard, I had a beard in like 7th grade. So I definitely not patchy. I don't know where you're getting that at. Sometimes it gets a little rough, you know, if I let it go too long. But right now it's looking pretty solid in my opinion, at least. Come on, guys. I feel he's gonna smoke this kid. I don't know about that. The chat is the chat is piping right now. Crack is whack. I would agree. Clark saying, hi, Brady, just wondering where I can send my formal apology for my hot take local knowledge on Jimmy Crute. He is currently drinking beers in town after the win. He didn't win, Clark.
Yeah, it was a draw.
It was a draw.
It's a great fight.
Which is better than a loss. Better than a loss.
Yeah. And and he could have gotten that win too.
Yes.
He could have gotten that win. Like you could have given him round 2 or 3 maybe, but he definitely piped them on site in round 1. He just couldn't get that finish. It was so close.
He couldn't. It was close. It was close. Crack is great for lifting. I bet it would be. I bet it would be good for lifting. We need to get Juan Camilo Ronderos back in the UFC. We need to make a petition. Let's get that guy back in there.
He might still have another fight on his contract. We can only hope.
How many likes for a live injection? 250. 250 likes. I'll inject it live. Let's see here. Dixon saying, I like the video. I agree. And if we get 300 likes, I'll do crack on stream. We got Daz with the $5 and appreciate you, Daz, saying donation, train, I'll hop on board. Let's effing go. Shout out to Daz. And we used to not have Daz in the chat for like 2.5 years. So it's nice to finally get Daz back in the chat. Good to see you, Daz. Appreciate you. Brady has a beard like Naimov's chest. Oh my gosh. We got Gus with the $2.99. Appreciate you, Gus. Shout out to Gus. Thank you guys so much. Someone clip what? What happened? Clip what?
It's gonna do crack on stream.
Oh, clip that. What did I say? 300 likes for the crack?
Yeah, 300. We need 300 likes for that. And I don't even know where we're going to get the crack. That's the problem. I'm in Chicago. I could probably throw a rock and hit somebody selling crack from my place. But, I don't know about where you're at, dude. I think you're in the suburbs.
I have to go up to Cleveland for that, probably.
Yeah. You could find it there.
Yes, 100%. But speaking of crack, I think Nick Klein's going to get cracked pretty bad in this fight. We got Mansur Abdul Malik going against Nick Klein. We got Mansur Abdul Malik, 27 years old, 6'2" with a 79-inch reach. Nick Klein, 29 years old, 6'1" with a 77-inch reach. Mansur Abdul Malik, he's going to be 2 years younger. He's going to have a 1-inch height advantage and a 2-inch reach advantage. Abdul Malik is 5-0 in his last 5 fights. He had a second-round TKO on the Contender Series win, and then he also knocked out poor Dusko Todorovic. All these years, he still has not fixed that striking defense, and Mansur Abdul Malik made him pay. Just a brutal knockout win for Mansur Abdul Malik. As far as Nick Klein, 4-1 in his last 5 fights. So what's interesting about Nick Klein is he stepped in on very short notice on the Contender Series, right? And he went out there and submitted Geraldo Souza in the first 60 seconds of the fight. Just got to didn't even get the hooks in, I think. Just took his neck home with them in the first 60 seconds there. So now they're bringing in poor Nick Klein, and they're giving him Mansur Abdul Malik. Mansur Abdul Malik opened up minus 600. He's currently minus 800. Nick Klein opened up plus 425, currently plus 550. Mansur Abdul Malik is the biggest favorite on the card by a mile. Mansur Abdul Malik was supposed to originally fight Antonio Tricoli, and Tricoli made a great career choice in pulling out because that would have been very bad. But yeah, in steps Nick Klein. You just can't really bet on this fight, in my opinion. You don't want to lay minus 800 against Mansur Abdul Malik. This is a guy who I think is really solid, really dangerous, but he has shown some flaws here and there. I watched a fight outside the Contender Series in UFC where he did get clipped, was able to kind of battle through some adversity and get the finish in his own right. The Wesley Schultz fight, it wasn't the best look. It kind of looked like he was on his way to getting broken, but Wesley Schultz ended up gassing out himself, and then he ended up finishing Wesley Schultz in that second. So again, battled some adversity, which you'd like to see, but yeah, just kind of seems like it's a bad spot for Nick Klein. Nick Klein needs to get this fight down to the ground on the feet. This guy is a walking punching bag, and it's just really hard to imagine him taking down Mansur Abdul Malik early. So yeah, I think Malik probably knocks him out, and I think it's a brutal knockout in the first round. The under is juiced to the tits, so this might just be one where you just sit back and enjoy some ass shaving here, Weezy. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I mean, this is a fight you probably shouldn't be betting on unless you think Klein's got a good chance to look better than the price tag that he's at, and he might. He is obviously a very good grappler. He's got a tendency to go out there and find that rear naked choke when he wins. And we got to remember, just because you beat Dusko Todorovic and Wes Schultz, it doesn't mean you should be minus 800 over a bunch of UFC fighters. So we got a lot to find out still about Nick Klein. And when you look at it, they're at a similar level of experience. Nick is 6-1, and Mansour Abdul Malik is 7-0. And Nick's got some pretty decent fights on his record. Guys like Colin Huckbody, who's been around. I've seen Tristan Overvig's name in a few different places. Corey Simpson was 22-21 when he beat him. So, and then he comes in on short notice, under the bright lights, biggest fight of his life, subs Geraldo Sosa in 37 seconds. So, yeah, I'm going to have to go and watch all the kids' tape and figure out. I'm going to probably start with the Overvig fight because that one went 3 rounds. And I want to see what the cardio looks like. I want to see what the game plan looks like. Because, I mean, even if I thought Malik destroys him, my rule is once the fighter's over minus 500, 83% implied and going up to 90% implied, there's just no edge there. There's no edge to be had. And when you start playing the props on those fights, those props, when you add them together, the inside the distance and the decision, or just put the KO, the sub and the decision props together, it's going to add up to 5 or 6% more than what the implied probability of the line is, which means you're betting on a guy that now has 100% chance to win if the prop markets are correct. So I'm staying away from this one unless I think Klein can find a submission.
Yeah, I mean, it's an easy pass for me. I wanted to see the Tricoli fight. I wanted to see Tricoli get his face pounded in. But I guess they're bringing in Nick Klein here.
Yeah, that really felt like, the UFC being like, not only are we going to be cutting you, Tricoli, we're going to be cutting you while you're at the hospital, getting your face rearranged back to the original shape by the doctors after this guy absolutely punches mud holes in your face. But now it's Nick Klein, and we'll see. We'll see what this one looks like because this kid Malik, man.
Yeah.
He looks so dangerous, man.
I think he's good. I think he's good for sure. Like a Malik there. Let's see. Tim liking Malik by piping. Brady, don't sleep on Klein. Hey, I'm not. I didn't make Abdul Malik minus 800. The bookies are sleeping on Klein. Plus 420. Got Klein sub 1. Long shot on, and that's how he probably wins. Would be sub. So we'll keep an eye out for the submission prop. But he could very well end up unconscious here. Is the thing you got to be aware of. Klein is a beast. He won big as a dog on the Contender Series. Yeah, and he did on like a couple days notice. Is Malik this week's Peyton Talbot? He could be. He could be. Might look at Abdul Malik round 1 too if the number is good enough. I doubt it is, to be honest. I doubt it's going to be good at all. The under is like minus 185. That's horrible. It's terrible.
Yeah, so that even means that
in the big cage.
You might not even get plus money for round 1.
Yeah, so I don't think there'd be value there, but we'll see. We'll see when the props drop. I do want to see where the Klein sub opens up, and then I do want to see where the Mansour round 1, round 2 opens up as well. Kind of the spots I would attack it. Tricoli's too handsome to. Hey, Pepe has a point. Too handsome. Oh, he's thinking of Tricoli. I mean, both guys are handsome, but Tricoli's more.
They're both shouldn't be taking that fight, Anybody who's concerned about their looks should not be fighting Mansour Abdul Malik. It's a bad career move.
It really is. Just ask poor Dusko Todorovic. Has that guy woken up yet? Has he woken up?
I don't know, man. I don't even know if he made it back to Serbia.
Modest Bukowska, we got to come up with like a what could go wrong parlay this week. Modestus at minus 350. Let's throw Mansour in there at minus 800. We'll come up with something. What could go wrong parlay. All right. Weezy, let's move on to this next fight. And unfortunately, Adam Fugit, Billy Ray Goff is off. That was Billy Ray Goff was an early candidate for the piping, on-site piping of the week. I thought he was going to pipe up Fugit at some point in that fight, but that fight is off, which is a damn shame. But move on to the next fight. We got Ricky Simone going against Javid Basharat. We got Ricky Simone, 32 years old, 5'6" with a 69-inch reach. Javid Basharat, 29 years old, 5'9" with a 69-inch reach. We got Basharat 3 years younger, 3-inch height advantage, same reach there. Ricky Simone is 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Rafael Assunção, submission win against Shaq Shore, and then 3 losses in a row. You got the knockout loss to Song Yadong, decision loss against Mario Batista, and then a decision loss against Vinicius Oliveira. As far as Javid Basharat, 3-1 and 1 no contest in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Trevin Jones, decision win against Tony Gravely, a decision win against Mateus Mendonce, no contest against Victor Henry, and then a decision loss against Ayman Zahabi. His last fight out at he's like a minus 900 favorite in that fight. So, I don't know, man. I mean, Ricky Simone, the dude's only 32. Like he can't possibly be washed yet, right? But his last 3 performances just have not looked great. I didn't think he looked great in the Song Yadong fight, but that is Song Yadong. Didn't really think he looked great in the Batista fight, and then he just looked completely out of it in the Vinicius Oliveira fight. He showed up to the Oliveira fight with a knee sleeve. Didn't do the double knee sleeve, but with the knee sleeve, just looked kind of washed. But he's only 32. Javid Basharat here, we're having to pay the Basharat tax. I mean, this guy is an overinflated favorite in every single one of his fights, including his last fight where he lost as like a minus 900 favorite. And now he is minus 310 against Ricky Simone. I mean, if I didn't see the Oliveira performance, the Batista performance, I probably would be betting Ricky Simone at plus 260. But I don't know. Does he have anything left in the tank? Because by his last performance, didn't really look like it. So I think I'm leaning Javid here, but minus 310. I don't know, man. What are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, it's probably Basharat by decision here. I think he's the better striker. I think he's the better minute winner on the feet. And we're just not seeing Ricky go out there and get the kind of control time he needs to get in order to be backing him. Because what we see on the feet from Ricky is he's got a little bit of power. He's landed 4 knockdowns in the UFC in 13 fights, but he's also been dropped 4 times. He only attempts 8.9 distance strikes per minute, and his opponents attempt 14. So this is a guy who's getting out-volumed on the feet. His accuracy is sitting around 39%. His power numbers are all right for the division, but I don't think of him as like this one-punch knockout type of guy. And, Basharat's really good with his movement and his footwork. I think he's going to be hard to find. 63% striking defense for Basharat, about the same number for Simon. But Javid's a little bit busier. Javid's going to be difficult to take down and hold down. And I think he's probably just going to win the minutes on the feet. And I think it's going to be kind of a bad fight. But I just want to point out that Ricky Simon lost to Song Yadong, Mario Batista, and Vinicius Oliveira. And the question that I would ask is, which one of those guys doesn't beat Javid? I mean, I think they all beat him. I think Song beats Javid. I think Batista beats him badly. And I think Vinicius Oliveira probably fucking finishes him. So, Basharat, though, is getting a good matchup here because he's going to be at this level. He's not dangerous at all. He's not going to finish anybody, but he can win minutes. He's got good anti-grappling. He can mix it in offensively when the time is right, and I think he's going to outstrike this guy. So that's the way I see this one going, is a Basharat decision.
Yep. I'm picking the same thing. Basharat by decision. Brady's a Basharat hater. Did I hate on Basharat? All I said was he lost as a minus 900 favorite. That's not hating it. It happened, man. I'm not hating the guy. I've actually picked Basharat in every single fight thus far. Is Ricky Simone? That's the question, dude. If this was the Ricky Simone that fought, a Assunção Shore, I think it'd be very, very live here. But I just did not like what I saw in his last couple fights. But again, he's only 32, so I don't know what's going on with the dude. Fight goes the distance. I think it could be a solid parlay piece this week. I agree with that. The over-under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 325. The under 2.5 is plus 250. Javid had a 100% finish rate outside the UFC, but inside the UFC, he's just not finishing anybody. So I think this fight does go the distance at a high clip, but you are having to pay a premium for it, minus 325 to that over.
Yeah, it's a big over, but I think that probably hits.
Yeah. I think that both Bonfim and Basharat brothers are okay. Neither are complete bums, but I can't get with Javid's pillow fist at this price with no finish. Yeah, I don't think there's any. And Ricky Simone's not even the most durable fighter in the world, but I don't think he finishes him. I agree with that. All right, let's moving on to the next fight. Oh boy. Oh God. Oh God. Oh my God. Modestas Bukauskas going against Rafael Cera in what could be the lowest level fight in UFC history. We've had some low level fights. We've had Dean Barry, Mike Jackson. We've had CM Punk in there. We've had just some low. Liang Na was in there. We have had some low. Yazong Hu fought in the UFC. Yeah, we've had some low level fights, but I think this one just absolutely just takes the cake. This is awful. People are paying for this. People are going to Seattle and they're paying money to watch this fight. I can't believe they're doing this. But hey, let's talk about him. Modestas Bukauskas, he is 31 years old, 6'3", with a 78-inch reach. Rafael Cera, 34 years old, 6'3", with a 75-inch reach. Modestas Bukauskas, 3 years younger, same height, and then they got a 2-inch reach advantage in favor of Modestas. Modestas 4-1 in his last 5 fights. He had a little stint in the UFC, didn't go too well, got cut, and they brought him back against Tyson Pedro, won that fight as an underdog, beat Zach Palga by decision in an awful fight, lost by knockout to Vitor Petrino, and then submitted Marcin Prachnio in the 3rd round. As far as Rafael Cera, he showed up in his debut against Ivo Oslon and had probably the worst debut in UFC history. Like, I can't think of a debut that went any worse for somebody. This guy, it says he landed 1 strike. I don't remember him landing a strike in that fight. Ivo Oslon landed 28. It's he landed 1 punch and Cera basically just covered up and quit. It was a really weird fight there. But the problem I'm having here, Weezy, and it's a big problem. It's a big, giant problem. Modestas Bukauskas is a minus 365 favorite. Rafael Cera is plus 300. And no matter who you think wins this fight, right? If you think Modestas wins this fight, the line's wrong. The line is wrong. We just don't know anything about Cera. There is absolutely no tape on this guy. The tape we do have on this guy is the 30 seconds of the Oslon fight, which Oslon would murk Modestas in the first minute as well. And then another fight where he knocks somebody out. So we just don't know anything about him. Apparently, this guy is a very good grappler. He's a black belt. Apparently has some knockout power. We just don't know. We haven't seen it. But what I do know is Modestas Bukauskas should not be minus 350 against anybody. Yeah. Against anybody in the world. So it might be one of those spots where you just close your eyes, you plug your nose, and you take a half unit shot on Cera for funsies, because how the hell can you make Modestas this big of a favorite against anybody? Even against like Malcolm Gordon, right? I wouldn't lay minus 360 on Modestas against Malcolm Gordon. I mean, how can you lay minus 360 on this guy? So I don't know what to do here. This is a clear pass. Nobody should be betting on this fight. It's a 100 gambler fight, but I'd be lying if I said I wasn't tempted to just take a shot in the dark here at plus 300. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this absolute atrocity of a fight?
Dude, I'm looking back through Modestas' record. You want to hear something hilarious?
Oh, yeah.
You're not going to believe me. Dude, okay. Modestas Bukauskas was a minus 165 favorite against Khalil Roundtree.
What the heck?
Dude, he was coming off a first-round knockout loss to Jimmy Crute. And then the fight after that, he had lost to Oleg Sachek by decision. And then the market made him a favorite against Khalil Roundtree. And he was a minus 200 favorite versus Zach Pauga. He was a minus 160 favorite, Basharat was, versus Prochnio. And now here he is at minus, this is the biggest favorite that he's ever been in the UFC. And it's against Cera. And up until the Oslon fight, I was 90% sure that Rafael Cera didn't even exist. And that because the fights that he supposedly was in, there's no fucking proof that they ever happened. There's no tape. There's nothing there on the guy. So it's an interesting line, because seeing Modestas Basharat over anybody at 205 pounds with a pulse is like the kind of line that shocks you, where you're like, wait, what? Because people were making this Cera guy sight unseen, like a pick'em against Oslon, right?
Yeah.
So how do you go from being a pick'em versus Oslon? Because supposedly, even though nobody fucking ever saw the guy fight, people out there in the market were like, this guy trains with fucking Gilton. So because he trains with Gilton, maybe he's good enough to beat Ibo Oslon. Well, that didn't work out good for anybody that used that logic, but we still don't know anything about this guy. I don't know what to do here. Like you say, if you were to bet Cera, it would be a hold your nose, probably don't even watch the fight, and just say, you know what? If I bet fighter A against Basharat at plus 300, and I'd make that bet 10 times in a row, I'm probably coming out ahead.
Yeah. It's disgusting. But what's even more disgusting, like laying minus 360 on Modestas. Like if you laid minus 360 on Modestas and this Cera guy knocks him out or takes him down and subs him, I couldn't live with myself if I did that. So it's a dogger. It should be a pass, but it's a dogger pass. It's just a terrible fight. Just an absolute terrible fight. Where did this line open up?
Yeah, that's a good question.
So Modestas opened up minus 200, it looks like. Currently minus 365. So yeah, minus 365 now. Cera currently plus 300. The over-under set at 1.5. The over 1.5 is minus 165. The under 1.5 is plus 135. Under doesn't look half bad, but again, there's like no information on Cera.
Yeah, the problem is like if Basharat is supposed to win this fight 80% of the time, right? Then how the fuck does this thing go under 1.5 rounds? Who the fuck is Modestas Basharat finishing?
Andreas Michailidis, and that's really it.
That was the cage door getting open.
You're right. You're right. You're right. He did finish Prochnio, but that was the third round. So
yeah, Prochnio, against Prochnio, he did get him. But yeah, over this thing probably does go over 1.5 rounds if the market's right about Basharat's money line. But yeah, it's a fascinating fight this is a shit fight. Oh. But from a gambling perspective, it's actually pretty fascinating because you have this super wide line. You got a pretty marginal fighter in Basharat being minus 365 in the UFC against somebody that we know very little about. Like Cera might go down there, take this guy down, get on his back and choke him out. It might be quick. Who knows? So we could probably get some good prices on Cera props now with his money line being plus 300.
Yeah. I'm tempted on it. I'm tempted. He could very well quit again. Could be right. Maybe Modestas maybe he lands one punch and he quits again. I don't know. But that was just weird. That was a weird situation there. But at the same time, like Modestas has not hit as hard as Ibo Oslon. That's for sure. Pepe saying, who is honestly laying juice on Modestas and moving this line?
It's not us, Pepe. I promise you.
I don't. If you are laying minus 360, let me know, because we will refer you to a specialist. We'll get you some help. We'll get you in a padded room, and we'll fix you up. We'll fix you up. The Parlay boys. There's a lot of I think other spots I would consider parlaying than Modestas here. Is there some sort of inside information? I don't know. And like Weezy said, like he was a pick'em. Cera was a pick'em against Oslon. Now all of a sudden he's plus 300. I don't know about that. Kind of disappointed. Yeah, where's Colton G? Wasn't Colton G the dude that said he wanted to have sex with me?
He said that he wanted to pipe you on site. It could mean a couple of different things, but he did have a knife emoji and like a brass knuckles emoji.
Oh god!
And he Colton G does not like Brady, you guys. I hope he's nowhere near where Brady lives, because that dude might get stabby.
Yeah, and he said he wants to get his homies to pipe me as well.
No, that's like you're not man enough to do it yourself. You need your homies to come in. Like, what did you do to this dude? Is my question.
I don't know. He was saying some weird stuff that one day. Some weird stuff. I don't want to get piped. That's for
Man,
sure.
no. And check it out, dude. I think the Stat Diggers on-site piping play of the week, Brady, should be what we're going to do to anybody that lays minus 365 on Modestas Bukauskas.
I agree. I mean, you can't do that. You can't do that. Maybe like Modestas by KO, but considering he's minus 300, you're going to get a trash line on that too. I don't know. I would put my life savings on Modestas against Malcolm. Yeah, I was joking, but not really. I don't think I'd bet Modestas minus 360 against anybody, to be honest. We got Avery with the 499. Appreciate you, Avery. Big sponsor of the show, saying Cera at KO will be great money. Hey, we've seen Modestas knocked out our fair share of times, including a brutal knockout loss against one Jimmy the Brute Crude. That was brutal. Absolutely brutal. Really confident on Cera here. Would I be confident? I'm confident in Modestas should not be minus 360. That's what I'm confident. I'm not confident in Cera, but I'm confident that the line's kind of dumb. Seems like a lot of people are saying they like Cera, but the line is moving the other way. Maybe it gets wider. Under is nice. Yeah, I like the under because I think if Cera is winning, it is under 7.5. And if it turns out this guy is a fraud, a bum, a quitter, yeah, Modestas probably does finish him. I can't wait to have. I was thinking like a half unit. I was thinking like a half unit, but yeah, why not? If you think the line's way off, why not? I'm only a small unit, but better. But I do. Can't wait to not bet this trend. You're a smart man. You're a smart man. What did I do? I didn't do anything to anybody as far as I'm concerned. But yeah, apparently he wants to pipe me and pipe me on site. So I gotta watch my back. Apparently. All right, let's move on to the next fight. We have a hilarious fight. This should be hilarious. It's an Ian Kudalaba fight, and it's going to be entertaining. We got Ian Kudalaba, Ibo Oslon. Kudalaba, 31 years old, 6'1" with a 75-inch reach. Oslon, 28 years old, 6'3" with a 77-inch reach. Oslon, 3 years younger, 2-inch height advantage, 2-inch reach advantage. Kudalaba, 2-3 in his last 5 fights. Submission loss to Johnny Walker. Knockout loss to Kennedy Nzechukwu. A knockout win against Tanner Bozer. Decision loss against Philippe Lins. And then a decision win against Ivan Erzlan. As far as Ibo Oslon, he has 5-0 in his last 5 fights, all by knockout. Majority in the first round. First round knockout win against Paulo Renato Jr. on the Contender Series. A third round knockout win against the Pleasure Man, Anton Turkalj. And then a first round knockout win against Rafael Cerquera. Oh, I don't know, man. I mean, this is it's an Ian Kudalaba fight. And Ian Kudalaba fights are just hard to cap, to be honest, because this guy is just a wild man. You don't really know what to expect. He's very inconsistent. Sometimes he shows up with 3-round cardio like he did in the Devin Clark fight. Sometimes he shows up with 5-minute cardio like he does in most fights. He gets finished a lot. He's been knocked out. He's been subbed a ton. Ibo Oslon looks like he has good takedown defense. He was training at Extreme Couture, which those guys typically do have great takedown defense. It looks like he's training at Tiger Muay Thai this time around. But yeah, I mean, if the takedown defense holds up, you got to imagine Ibo Oslon probably punts Kudalaba's head into the third row. But if Kudalaba can get takedowns, I have a feeling that Oslon's like a 0 off his back. So this fight, I think, was a pick'em at one point. Looks like Oslon is taking some steam. I mean, I don't know. I feel like a pick'em was probably more accurate because I do see a path for Kudalaba with the wrestling and might even have better cardio. Like Oslon, when he's winning fights, it's typically in the first round. So probably one I'm staying away from a money line standpoint, but I think there are going to be some props that I like in this fight. But what I do know is this is going to be a complete chaotic fight, and it should be fun to watch as a fan. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight? Oh.
Damn it. This is a great fight, dude. I think it's going to be a lot of fun. Kudalaba always brings it, and a guy like Aslan is got really good power, and he can stop you. Good takedown defense he's shown thus far against Turkali and Cera. He's seeing 9.7 takedowns against per 15 minutes, and he's stuffed all of them. So he's doing pretty well. 14-0 to the KO is Ibo Oslon, and 0-1 to the submission. So guess what? Eon's going to be trying to take him down because it's not like Eon's shy to shoot takedowns. This guy attempts almost 8 takedowns per 15 minutes, and he averages 4 takedowns per 15 minutes. So I think it's going to be interesting because while this is on the feet, even though we've seen Ibo go out there and, get a lot of wins, against who? Right? Paulo Hinato Jr., the welterweight. Did you see him fight the morbidly obese Georgi Kubashvili? That's one of the funniest fights you're ever going to see. Dude, when you watch that fight, when they pan the camera over to Georgie and you see like a 5'4" obese man fighting Ibo Oslon, like this statuesque action figure looking dude, and they got him out there against a 5'4" fatty.
What's his name?
Georgi Kubashvili. It was just 4 fights ago for Ibo Oslon. That guy.
That's
that horrible. Guy sucks.
The horrible picture that he chose.
Well, he went for the face shot, so you couldn't see how sadly out of shape he is. So that you can't see the fact that this guy's like a 5'3" light heavyweight. Terrible fighter. So Cutelaba might even be better on the feet here. We have to be prepared for that possibility because it's not like he doesn't have power, Brady. He's got a ton of power. He's hurt a lot of better fighters than Ibo Oslon in this cage. I mean, this guy's got 17 UFC fights. Ibo Oslon only has 14 professional fights, and I'd say about 10 or 11 of those fights are against complete nobodies. And the rest of them, Cera is the last win. I mean, he just beat Rafael Cera, who's now plus 300 to fucking Modestas Bukauskas. And I'm supposed to believe that Ibo Oslon's going to go out there and just dick saw Iwan Cutelaba. I don't think so, man. I think maybe that Cutelaba might be some value here. But this guy Oslon's got a ton of power. And if you bet against him, that your guy might wind up in a whole lot of pain on the ground looking up at the lights wondering what happened.
Yeah, it's like I said, it's a Cutelaba fight, man. Like, I don't know. We've seen some crazy outcomes, some crazy things from the guy, just so inconsistent. He did post on Instagram, his recent post, he looks to be in like the best shape of his life, and he even said that he might go down like middleweight, which would be smart. I mean, go down to middleweight because he's small for light heavy, and he's gonna be undersized here. So, but yeah, looks to be in great shape for this fight, but that doesn't always translate to good cardio because we've seen him just look good, wrestle hard for a round, and then just quit in fights. So I don't know. It's a tough fight. Oslon opened up plus 120, currently minus 155. Cutelaba opened up minus 140, currently plus 135. The over under set at 1.5. Of course, the under was plus money, but that plus money is no longer there. It's now minus 115 each way for the over under. How do you hate on Brady gets it? Yeah, if you hate me, like something's probably really wrong with you because I don't really do anything to anybody. So yeah, but some people do. Some people hate me, especially Colin G. Colin G. And his homies. They're not big fans of me. I'm liking Oslon a lot. Oh, I don't like. It's tough for me to make a confident pick one way or another. I wanted to make a case for Ion, but I think I am leaning towards Ibo Oslon to stuff the takedowns, but I don't know. If Ion takes Ibo down, it could be game over. Yeah, that's the thing. Like it could be game over. The one time we did see Oslon off his back, he got finished very shortly after against Turkali.
Yeah,
in their first fight. So, Cutelaba is probably stupid enough to train. Yeah, they're probably going to swing dicks a little bit. Ian won't wrestle. It'd be wise to. It would certainly be wise to. Ibo is an albino belt from BJJ. Yep. 100%. 100%. Y'all don't know the dedication this takes from the UK. I'm making breakfast at 1:00 in the morning, and we'll spend the next few hours taping before the sun comes up. Only way to do it. Good morning to y'all. That is dedication. Shout out to Muhammad. Bruce Lee, shout out to you. Enjoy your breakfast, man, and enjoy taping some of these fights. Record padding. Yeah, we see a lot of that, though. We see a lot of that. Oslon, well, Matt, hey, how about you tell that to Ivo Oslon's face? How about you tell him he sucks to his face?
Go right up to him. You suck, dude.
Oh my gosh. Oh, tell Oslon he sucks to his. Oh my gosh, don't do that. Whether he sucks or not, I would not say it to that guy's face. He's very dangerous for the first 5 minutes. Ion grappling round 1 will cook Ebo. Could be. He needs to bring back the Khalil round. But like somebody said, I think Ion's kind of stupid, to be honest. He does a lot of stupid stuff in there. But yeah, the path in theory would be there. Delidze wasn't a fan at first of what? Of me? Oh, yeah, me and Delidze. We got into it a little bit a couple years ago. Something I said. But me and Delidze are cool now. We're cool now. And you want to be cool with that guy. You don't want to be on Delidze's with chest hair like that. You don't want to be on the bad side of Roma Delidze. That's for sure. Yeah, I mean, like I said, me and him are cool. And yeah, shout out Colton G. Hopefully he's doing well. We got Justin Compa with the $9.99. Shout out to Justin with the super sticker. Appreciate you, Justin. Always hanging out. And yeah, appreciate you, Tony. He says, thanks for the good picks. Last card, Big Worm.
Big Worm.
We got Avery saying Kudalaba sub 1. He's getting the takedown. Yeah, there's some props sticking out, man. I think Kudalaba by sub makes a lot of sense. I think Oslon by first round knockout, second round knockout makes a lot of sense. I think, a total potentially makes a lot of sense. It's a violent fight, but a fight that I'm not really confident in from a money line standpoint. And yeah, Delidze is a fan of the show. I said something about a certain somebody. He messaged me via Instagram with a voice chat, and he just kindly, respectfully asked me to not say that ever again. And I didn't, and now we're cool. Now we message back and forth every so often. So yeah, shout out to Roman Delidze, fan of the show. Ebo Moneyline, minus 155. I don't know. Is Charles Johnson a fan? I don't believe so, but maybe we can win him over. And
maybe.
Yeah, I agree with Matt. Insulting Ebo Oslon or Roman Delidze is probably not the best idea. I agree with that. All right, let's move on to the next fight here. We have a fun fight. We got Gene Silva going against Melsik Bagdasaryan. We got Gene Silva, 28 years old, 5'7" with a 69-inch reach. Melsik, 33 years old, 5'9" with a 70-inch reach. Gene Silva, 5 years younger. Melsik, 2-inch height advantage and a 1-inch reach advantage. Gene Silva's 5-0 in his last 5 fights. A knockout win against poor Weston Wilson. A knockout win against Charles Jourdain, and then a knockout win against Drew Dober. As far as Melsik, he has 4-1 in his last 5 fights. Decision win against Dennis Bazukia. Knockout win against Colin Anglin. Decision win against Bruno Souza. Submission loss to Josh Kulabau. And then a decision win against Tucker Lutz. So Melsik's coming off a little bit of a layoff. He had an injury as well. What was it? A torn labrum. So he's off for a while, coming back, and they're giving him Gene Silva, who just looks unstoppable. Gene Silva is only 28 years old, training at the Fighting Nerds, and he just seems to be leveling up each and every fight. Him going out there and knocking out Weston Wilson, it doesn't do anything for me, right? Him going out there and being the first one to knock out Charles Jourdain, that does a little something for me. He hurt Charles Jourdain badly in the first round and then finished him brutally in the second round. Gene Silva has real power, has some grappling in his back pocket as well that he hasn't showed yet, but he might bring that to the table here, and as he should. But yeah, the Drew Dober fight, this guy, I think it was the end of the second round, landed, I think it was a spinning back fist or something, a head kick maybe. Drew Dober was wobbling across the cage and then finishes him in the third round with a cut stoppage. That was a great win. And now they're giving him Melsik. This is a wide line, Weezy. We're paying the Fighting Nerds tax, right? We got Gene Silva minus 560, Melsik plus 410. And I think of it this way. If these guys are going to strike for 15 minutes, you can't possibly make Gene Silva minus 560. But I do feel like Gene Silva has a nice path here in terms of the grappling, training at the Fighting Nerds. This guy has submissions in the past. He has grappled in the past, hasn't done that yet. But why not take down Melsik, where you're just going to have an astronomical advantage on the ground? We saw Melsik get insta-stubbed by Josh Gulabau, got submitted in his other loss prior to that. So, yeah, I think if Gene Silva does, mix in the martial arts here, he could go out there and look like a big favorite. But, yeah, we're having to pay a hefty price tag on a lot of these fights, but here especially, minus 560 on one Gene Silva. Wheezy, what are your thoughts on this fight? It should be fun. It should be a really fun fight.
Yeah, if Melsik makes it to the cage, I mean, that's something he has such a hard time doing. This kid's career has been 10 years and 9 months long, and he's only fought 10 times. He's fighting less than once a year, and he's pulling out of fights at an alarming rate. And we've got a year and a half layoff now for Melsik Bagdasaryan going into this fight. So pulls out of the Gomez fight, pulls out of the Emil fight, pulls out of the Naimov fight, pulls out of the Brito fight, smart move, pulls out of the TJ Laramie fight twice, once in November of 2021, once in April of 2022. So, oh God, no, you know what? I don't think he pulled out of the Laramie fight. I think Laramie pulled out of the first one. Laramie had a bacterial infection, and then Melsik pulled out. So yeah, he's had a broken hand. He's had the torn labrum. He's having a really hard time getting into the cage. Last time we saw him was July of 2023, and he got a win over Tucker Lutz. So, and you're facing Gene Silva, who's just got a ton of hype on him right now, and he looks like a real prospect here at featherweight, and going up on short notice and knocking out Drew Dober is an amazing feat. And, and not only that, Brady, the market made him a pick'em there. So the market loves this guy, because he probably shouldn't have been a pick'em against Drew Dober. If you're thinking about the short notice, the step up in weight, the experience difference, the perceived power and durability difference that should have been on the Dober side. He walked through all that and beat the hell out of Drew Dober. And did he finish him? I forget.
It was a doctor stoppage, but yeah, basically finished. Like some of the shots he was landing on Dober would finish 95% of the division.
Yeah. So, and like you said, he's gonna have a grappling advantage here too. But don't sleep on Melsik Bagdasaryan's kickboxing. The guy's got a ton of power, and everything that he throws is trying to put a hole in you. So you never know, man. He might be able to land something big. Melsik's got serious power. So it's an interesting fight, but this is another one of those fights, man. I mean, it's so hard to get behind Bagdasaryan. Who's his best win? Is it Lutz? Is it Bruno Sosa? Is it Bazookier? Colin Anglin? Those are the wins. So it's like, is he going to beat Gene Silva? Off the heels of all that? The kid's 33 years old now. He's not a spring chicken anymore. I mean, Gene's over 4 years younger than him too. And just completely different career trajectories, as Bagdasaryan can barely even make it to the cage. And he's been constantly pulling out of fights. And now we got a guy in Silva who's taken a nice little break here, almost 7 months. And he had been fighting a lot recently. So it was a good thing to see him take a little bit of time off, heal up, add a couple skills to the toolbox in training. But yeah, this should be Gene Silva. It should be Gene Silva all day. I think he's just as likely to land big shots on the feet. I think he's way more likely to have grappling success. And they're two completely different career trajectories.
Yeah, I mean, he could be in early running for the potential Stat Diggers on-site piping of the week. I mean, if somebody's going to get piped, Gene Silva seems to be really good at piping.
Yeah, he sure does, man. And we got to talk about a couple fights that aren't on the stat sheet, dude.
Okay, we'll get there. I'll pull them up on Tapology.
Yeah, perfect.
So Gene Silva opened at minus 200. He's minus 560. Melsik opened at plus 170. Currently plus 410. Yeah, I mean, I'm not betting against Gene Silva anytime soon. I actually think Gene Silva is like very, very good, and is only going to get better. Like Gene Silva could be a legit threat, honestly, going forward for a lot of guys, especially Melsik, who's been inactive, coming off of multiple injuries. Doesn't have the best cardio, no ground game. So yeah, I think this should be Gene Silva. Just it is a wide price tag. Gene Silva will deliver the biggest piping in Melsik's life. Is Fighting Nerds angle need fished out in hidden value? So the Fighting Nerds have been killing it. The men, but we did see Bueno Silva look absolutely awful, and then we saw Bruno Brazil look absolutely awful. But the Fighting Nerds men, I don't think they've lost yet. Who we got Kyle Bahayo. I don't think he's lost a fight. Gene Silva hasn't lost a fight. That dude that is Protest. Is Protest?
Protest and Hoofy.
They both haven't lost. Yeah, so the Fighting Nerds men, they are undefeated, which is crazy. Gene Silva, it could be a piping, man. It could be a piping. Could absolutely be a piping. Yeah, Bruno Brazil, get some help. Running away during a fight, like why even show up, dude? Why even show up? Gene's going up to KOing Drew Dober is no joke. KOing Charles Jourdain, I don't think that gets talked about enough. Like that's just not easy at all. Gene Silva by destruction over this overrated fool. Silva inside the distance. Melsik axe kick KO.
Ooh.
MMA Ricky saying this fight won't happen.
Yeah.
Would not shock me. I think it'd be wise actually for Melsik to pull out. I think that'd be smart. Pull a Tricoli. Hey, I don't want to fight Mansur Abdul Malik. I think Melsik should pull out. I think that'd be very smart, and nobody would blame him for it either. We could bring Weston Wilson in to replace him, right? Let's do Gene Silva, Weston Wilson too. What do you say? Who's with me?
I don't think Weston's signing up for that one, man.
Is he awake yet? No. Is Weston awake yet or no?
I think he is because remember, didn't he beat somebody? Who did he beat? Cera. Yeah, man, he got a win, so he woke up.
Yes, he did wake up. That's good. Hindsight capping versus Dober. He was minus 500. Yeah, he beat the brakes off of Drew Dober, which is it was surprising, but yeah, this guy's legit, man. Silva's so good. The hype is real. I believe in the hype myself. Could be early running for on-site piping of the week. We'll get to it towards the end, but he is early running for sure. Gene Silva, Dan Ige would be a heck of a fight. Yeah. Kraszewski lost.
Oh, yeah. I forgot he was a Fighting Nerds guy.
Let's not count him.
Then there was Moises. Moises was down there for one of his recent losses. Not the last fight because he won that one, but the before the Ogden fight, he was down there for a camp, and I think he lost.
T-Rex short notice for Silva. That'd be one heck of a fight. I kind of expected Terrence McKinney to step in on short notice last week and fight Jared Gordon. Instead, they brought that bum in that quit before the fight even started. Who's that bum? Oh, Ruzabo's brother. He quit before he stepped on the scale. I couldn't believe that. Silva, I heard this as well. Is that true? He broke both of his hands against Dober. I heard that.
Wow. Yeah, and then he used those broken hands to break Dober's face. I mean, you're gonna break your hands on Drew Dober's face. Yeah, I think he's gonna punch mud holes through the face of Melsik Bagdasarian.
Yeah, I think so too. All right, so I'm gonna pull up the old Tapology, and by the way, we are at 89 likes, so we need 200 likes, and I will do a steroid injection live on stream, and then if we get 250. Then I will be doing crack. So let's get those likes up, guys. 89. Honestly, it's uncalled for. So pipe up that like button, just like poor Connor Matthews got piped on site last night by Jose Delgado. Welcome to the UFC, Jose Delgado. What a piping that was. What a piping that was. All right, so we covered Modestus Cera. We covered Klein, Mansur Abdul Malik. We covered Simone Basharat. We did not cover this one. So we're going to pull up there's Sultan Rizaboev versus Eric Mikano.
Ooh!
Here we go. All right. I hate pulling up Tapology. There's just so many ads. Like, get some help, Tapology. But, why would I need, a Hugs made to... Actually, I might need that ad. That might actually relate to me. Stark State. I already graduated college. Why would I want to go to Stark State, an ass college? And just kidding. It's not ass. It's all right. But yeah, these ads like hydrate. These ads are actually relating to me. Like I like hydration. I like hydration. I like being
Me too.
hydrated. So
Yeah.
maybe I might click on some of these ads after the show, to be honest. Get some huggies for the kid, get some hydration. But no, I don't want to go to Stark State. All right. So we have Nursultan Rizaboev going against Eric Mikkaniko. And yeah, it was actually hilarious when Marcel first these fucking ads, dude. These ads. I don't.
Dude, you got to get the Brave browser, man. The Brave browser has no fucking ads on it. It'll block all that shit.
Terrible. Navy Federal. Why would I want Navy? I haven't even heard of Navy Federal Credit Union. What is going
You're not
on?
even in the Navy. They would tell you to go kick rocks because you're not in the Navy. They'd be like, you can't bank here.
What's going on with Tapball? Get some help. Get some help. I get that, you want to make some money. I get that, but for the love of God, like let's maybe one ad's fine. Maybe even, but it's just too much. Geez. So anyway, like I was saying, Marcel posted the announcement that Eric Mikkaniko was going to step in, and the picture that he used and everybody was using was Mikkaniko as a corner man. It was him in his corner man outfit. They cropped out Jared Cannonier, and it was Mikkaniko in his corner man outfit just standing there. It was hilarious. And his Tapology picture, by the way, is awesome as well. Look at that. Just a thumbs up. I love it. So as most of you should know, Nursultan Rizaboev, I think, is a total fraud, but they're giving him Eric Mikkaniko here. Eric Mikkaniko, this guy's been knocked out twice. He can wrestle a little bit. I went back and watched that Maki Pitolo fight. He broke Maki Pitolo, landed a big shot in the second that pretty much ended the fight. Maki was able to survive, but he was pretty much done. And then he finished him in the third. I don't know. I mean, I want to fade Nursultan so bad. I was going to fade his brother. I was going to have like 5 units total on Jared Gordon last week. And I want to fade this guy as well. But it just kind of seems like there's a good chance he goes out there and gets a first-round knockout. I don't like the durability of Mikkaniko. Rizaboev, at least early on, he has power. He's dangerous. He's huge. He's going to look like he's in a total different weight class. Mikkaniko's taking it on short notice. So I lean Rizaboev, but I would never bet on this guy, especially minus 330. Wow. He's minus 330. It's honestly like a Modesta situation, but yeah, give me Rizaboev by like first round knockout, but I don't believe I'll be touching this fight. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this one?
Well, first of all, I don't even know who the hell Eric Mikkaniko is, so I'm gonna have to really look into that because this just got put together, I think, a day or two ago. But I know who Rizaboev is, right? I mean, he's super tall and long for the division. He likes to try to get submissions off his back. He's got no takedown defense, and he throws no volume. He uses that length to make you close into distance, and when you do that, that's when he really kind of tries to pipe your ass, And he did that to poor Cedriques Dumas. He did that to Ferreira, right? Was it Ferreira that he knocked out?
Yeah, Bruno Ferreira.
Yeah, so he's got power and he's got a good submission game off his back too. He was submitting a lot of low-level regional scene guys, but the guy's got, because he's tall and long, he can get chokes, he can get triangles, he can do things that other guys can't do just because of his unusual size and length for the division. So it's kind of an interesting fight because Eric's going to have to figure out how to close distance. And Rizaboev's, kind of a master at making you pay when you try to do that. So I think that Rizaboev could land something early. I think that he could maybe find a submission off of his back. But Mikkaniko, if he wants takedowns, he can get them whenever he wants. So if this guy can wrestle for 3 rounds, he's going to be live here because Nursultan Rizaboev's takedown defense is ass. I've never seen the guy stuff a takedown.
Yeah, he doesn't. He
will just let you take him down, and then he'll play guard off of his back. So that's a dangerous archetype of fighter to lay this kind of juice on, because he might piss away a ton of minutes against a guy in Mikkaniko who you said you saw wrestle a little bit, right?
A little bit, not really.
A little bit, okay.
He kind of like swinging dicks, to be honest.
Well, that's not going to work well for him against this guy because he's going to have a hard time closing distance against him.
Yeah, for sure. Tribal Seeds. Tribal Seeds. Is that a movie?
Sense of Motion? What? Pyramid? I don't know, man.
I don't know.
Can you send feedback and say that the ads are ass?
And it keeps showing. I keep clicking off of it. It keeps showing up. I don't want Tribal Seeds. I don't know. It's getting out of hand. Let's see. No more ass flavored Celsius Brady. Yeah, I don't like ass flavored things. Ads are piping Brady. Yeah, the ads are piping me. It's terrible. Some of these ads, man. He's loyal. He's defending Brady's search. It wasn't that bad. It wasn't that bad. Hertz, isn't that like renting cars? I think so.
Yeah.
These ads just aren't. Some of them are relating, some aren't. 5 units on Jared Gordon, a guy that's been legally dead. Jeez, Brady. That's just what I thought about Ruzibo's brother, especially after that picture circulated. Where did you see that picture of his brother, dude?
Yeah, I did. You showed it to me.
And Wheezy, I kid you not, Wheezy thought that this was Ketlin Souza, and he was like, "She looks ready." Wheezy thought this was Ketlin. I was like, Wheezy, that's not Ketlin Souza. That's Ruzabov's little brother, dude.
Thought it was Ketlin, dude, and I was like, "Oh man, I got money on Hill." Ketlin looks ready, But then, oh my god, it's Mash Rab John. Okay, it's Mash Rab John. I got that could happen to anybody though. It could happen. Anybody could make that mistake.
I thought it was Ketlin Souza. That was hilarious. Oh, he's definitely the better brother. Sultan is not a fraud. Go get some help. I mean, I don't know, man. I don't know. Let's see. What's up, Bailey? What is this? Alabama Shakes?
That's a band.
Gosh. Tapology must be rolling in the money. Like all these ads. Like that's they're probably getting paid big time for that. So shout out Tapology, man. They're probably getting paid.
It's a great website. I hope the people that have that website are making a ton of money off of it, because like if Tapology went down tomorrow, I'd be like, I wouldn't know what to do with myself.
Yeah. There we go. At least he didn't get exposed for erectile dysfunction with the I could have been a lot worse. Could have been a lot worse. Let's see. They're laughing at could you guys believe that? I couldn't believe that. I could not believe what I saw. I was going to have 5 units on Jared Gordon, dude. I was going to have Gordon money line parlayed. I was going to have Gordon inside the distance. I was going to have Gordon round 2, Gordon round 3, Gordon everything against that guy. I couldn't believe it. I couldn't believe it. We got Otterbomb saying, just want to get a quick y'all are the best in here. We will have a grand 2025. Come on. Thank you, Otterbomb. Appreciate you. Rizabella might be a bum, and he did better against Buckley than Covington. That's true. That's very true. He's a fraud because he lost to Buckley. Okay, fine. He's not a fraud. He's not a fraud. This guy's the next champion. His brother's a fraud. You can't argue that. You can't argue that though. I just think that Rizabov's not really beating anybody outside.
Even the Dumas win, like he poked him in the eye.
Yeah.
So this guy's got a lot to prove. He landed 1 punch against Ferreira. He got a bullshit win over Cedriquez Dumas. So those wins are not something that you want to be laying -3. I mean, but we don't know anything about Mikano either. This fight, by the way, this was just put on. Like both of these guys are on less than 2 weeks' notice for this fight, because there were so many canceled fights on this card that the UFC had to go last minute searching for guys to step in, and neither of these guys were scheduled to fight on this card.
And they brought in a cornerman.
Yeah, I
know. Let's see. Did that guy end up tagging you in an Andrade photo? He said he would.
Yeah. It happened again.
Okay, he didn't tag me in it, and if I'm being honest, I kind of felt left out. But
now you're going to be seeing some really nasty pictures. I got to tell you.
Oh, was it nasty? Like,
Oh,
how'd he get all those, dude? Like, that's actually concerning. Like, where's this guy getting all these photos? Like, her
dude,
OnlyFans got taken off.
I was so drunk last night, Brady. We were at an outdoor beer fest, hanging out with Kyle. Shout out Kyle Marley. Dude, we had so much fun drinking and hanging out there. But went back to the house. I was loaded. And then we drank more at the house because people came over to party there afterwards. And I was going through my Twitter, saw that, and it all just came up, Brady. It all came up. Then I had to drink more to kind of replace all the alcohol that I had just puked up. It was disgusting.
Yeah, I mean, I was up late last night, very late. Kind of hoping I got tagged in one of those. I was like, I kind of got used to it a little bit, right? You know how you get used to it, you get into a routine, and I was like, hey, he's gonna tag me in it, right? I never got the tag. So unfortunate, but probably a good thing. All right, so we talked about Raboa, we talked about Oslon, talked about Philly Costa. So I need to pull up. I don't want to pull up Tabology anymore, but I'm gonna have to. We gotta pull up the Menafield fight, right?
Yeah, the Menafield fight.
All right, here we go. All right, here we go. We got Alonzo Menafield going against Julius Walker. We got Julius Walker coming in here on short notice. Who was Menafield supposed to fight?
I don't remember having him on my sheet.
It's just
this is another fight, Brady, that was made because we lost Blades Kuniev. We lost Vieira Chason. We lost Barbosa Garcia. We lost Cruz Font. So we've had a bunch of people already have to step in. They had to make the Ruzaboyev fight and this fight from scratch. So both of these guys are on less than 2 weeks' notice as well.
What a mess. So yeah, Walker's young, man, 25 years old. This guy is huge for the division, 6'4" with an 81-inch reach. And I went and watched all his fights, and this guy's a wrestler. This guy's looking to get the fight down to the mat. What do we got here? Navy. I don't want Navy Federal Credit Union. I don't want that. There's no need for me to be on the
0% intro APR though.
There's a what?
A 0% intro annual percentage rate, interest rate. So you got to think about that, right? Okay. I mean, like that could save you money, Brady. I mean, at that price, you can't afford not to get into the Navy Federal, but you'll have to join the Navy first.
Oh, I'm not joining the Navy. I don't think, but yeah, that could be something to look into potentially. So yeah, this guy's a wrestler. Looking to get the fight down to the ground. On the feet, he'll swing his dick a little bit, but very hittable, very open to getting clipped, and that's kind of what worries me here against Menafield. I don't know, man. Menafield hasn't looked great at all in his last two performances. He got sparked in 12 seconds by Carlos Olberg. Kind of went out and got knocked out. It was really weird. And then he got his ass shaved against that 60-year-old Azamat Mirzakhanov in the second round. So yeah, his last two performances haven't been that great, but this guy is an experienced fighter. He's fought some really good guys throughout his career. And I don't know, this guy Julius, these stupid ass ads, man. This guy Julius Walker, if he's not able to get down Menafield, I think he's going to be in a lot of trouble. And as we know, it's not easy to get down Menafield, but on the feet, I think either guy's live to land a big shot. Both these guys have a ton of power. So I don't know. I think a lot of people are really low on Menafield. He's been kind of looking terrible as of late, but I still think Walker is very unproven. So we'll see. I'm kind of leaning Menafield, but I'm also kind of leaning towards not betting this fight. And I'm also kind of leaning towards the under, but I think it's at juice. Weezy, what are your thoughts on this fight?
Yeah, I got to figure out who the hell Julius Walker is because I don't know who he is. But I know that as I'm looking at his Tapology profile right now, Synergy FC champion, also Peak Fighting champion, got wins over guys that have all been UFC or UFC adjacent, with Niall Bartling, who was in the Tough House for the heavyweight season of The Ultimate Fighter, got a second-round submission win over him. Beat former UFC veteran Bavon Lewis by first-round ground and pound. So those were the two title fights they had in Synergy. So he was the Synergy, light heavyweight title? Yeah, light heavyweight. And then he beat Myron Dennis, who's a veteran regional scene guy. Myron, I think, has been on
Wait, Weezy, before. This is important. So Julius Walker was actually scheduled to fight somebody, and I got to pull him up. His name is Mark Courier.
Yeah.
And
he was supposed to fight him the same day. Oh my God. Dude, the Wolf, dude. He's 3-5.
So he's going from fighting that guy to Lonzo Menafield.
Jeez. Okay. That dude's got big fists, though.
Big tits as well. You don't see tits like that nowadays.
Oh, so he was actually scheduled to fight. So that's a good thing for Walker, is that he was in a camp and he was trying to peak on February 22nd, which is going to be the day that these fights take place. So Menafield is kind of like the one that's taking the short notice fight here. So, I mean, this is a huge step up for Julius Walker, but I need to see this young man fight before I tell you what I think of how this one's going to play out. But it's a big step up, and Menafield's good, dude. I've always thought he was a very good fighter. So I don't know. This is going to be a fun one.
Yeah, I think the under solid. It's minus 130. I think somebody probably does get served here. What do you guys like in this one? Yeah, good shout on that one. He was supposed to fight that dude. There's a 2 hot dogs for $1 ad.
Really? Where?
I didn't see that, but that's a good deal.
That is a good deal.
That's an ad I can get down with. Two dogs for $1. You don't see a deal like that. Not in this economy. Not in 2025. You don't see a deal like that. This guy keeps saying I'm in debt. I'm not in debt at all. I'm not in debt. I don't know why he keeps saying. He said it like 10 times. It's getting kind of weird, dude. The canceled fights might be a better fight card. I don't know. We lost the Garcia Barbosa fight. That hurts. The Billy Regal fight, losing that one, that hurts. Yeah. But yeah, if you get, I think it was a smart career choice to pull out against Billy Ray. That would have been bad. If Menafield fumbles this bag, bruh. Yeah, Menafield is minus 160 and Walker's plus 140. Like I said, the under is minus 130 there. And that is not Angela Hill. That is not Angela Hill. My goat, Mark. Yeah, shout out to Mark Courier. Horny. What do you mean?
Okay.
From Mark Courier? I mean, I don't know about that.
Alonzo was in Camp Rumor Sai. Is that right?
It sounds about right.
Oh, he's supposed to fight Steve on March 22nd.
Yeah.
We see already withdrew from that fight, so they made this short notice fight for him now with Walker.
Okay. There we go. Can we be done with Tapology yet?
I still don't have. Well, we could. You know what we could do? We could pull up the Font fight that was already here. Or no. We still need to do the Font fight.
Okay, we can. I mean, people are thinking I'm in debt. People.
Yeah, you can just bring up the stat sheet. You know, we don't have to necessarily.
I don't want people to think I'm in debt or I got Celsius. See, this is something that relates to me. Celsius, maybe not the kiwi strawberry, but that is an ad that I can get down with. $25. I can get down with that. All right, yeah, screw you, Tapology. Now you got people thinking I'm broken in debt. So, all right, let's talk about Rob Font going against Gene Matsumoto. We got Gene Matsumoto currently minus 205. Rob Font plus 175. Gene Matsumoto undefeated, coming in here on short notice. It was supposed to be Rob Font versus who the heck was it? Dominic Cruz. Cruz got injured, retired, pulled out. In steps Matsumoto. Weezy, what are your thoughts on Font Matsumoto?
I think it's going to be a fun fight. So Font's supposed to fight Cruz. Now Matsumoto stepping in on short notice here. Undefeated Gene Matsumoto. But the last fight, who did he fight last?
Matsumoto or Katoner?
Yeah. And that was a decision. Yeah. And Font went and moved to from New England Cartel over to TriStar, and I think Cater went with him now because Cater was had those guys in his corner yesterday. So it's he looks really improved against Kyler in his last fight. And Matsumoto's got really good Muay Thai. So this is a good striker versus a good striker. And we couldn't see, Kyler was unable to have grappling success against him last time out. So I think that Matsumoto, this is going to be a tough one for him because he's taking it on short notice against a much more experienced guy, against a much taller and longer fighter, and a guy who's fought the much better brand of competition, coming off probably the best win he's had. I mean, the Yanez win was good. The Garbrandt win, even in 2021, people were saying Garbrandt was done, but he beat him for 5 rounds. Beat Marlon Moraes, finished him in the first round. So he's had some good wins, but that Kyler Phillips win as a plus 350 underdog really showed that, hey, this guy, you might want to fade him because the market made him plus 350 last time out because he's not getting any younger. Because what he's at 37 years old, I think now, Font.
Yeah,
I have my spreadsheet up. I know I got his done, but it's not on the Google sheet yet. Font is
37, 38.
37 years old. Matsumoto's 25 years old. So, the kid's 12 years younger than him. And that is a statistically significant predictor of wins, especially in these lower weight men's divisions, man. Age makes a big difference. But with Font, you got the experience, the strength of schedule. That's very important as well. So it's going to be an interesting fight.
Yep. And yeah, like you said, Font cashed as a really big underdog his last fight. But Kyler Phillips, I don't know what's up with Kyler Phillips. He gassed out worse than he'd ever had. Usually Kyler Phillips gasses out in the third, but he kind of gassed out in the second. But Kyler looked really good in the first, took him down and controlled him for 3 minutes and 30 seconds. But yeah, they don't even have this fight on UFC stats yet.
I know. It's just so many last minute replacements here.
It's crazy. Okay, so Matsumoto, he opened up minus 150. He's currently minus 205. Rob Font opened up plus 130, currently plus 175. The over-under set at 2.5. Geez, the over 2.5 minus 425. The under 2.5 is plus 325. I think a lot of it has to do with Font's durability, and then Matsumoto also undefeated, never been finished. But that is a hefty price to pay on that over.
Yeah, that really is. But I think always people are expecting Font fights to go over. But the secret is that Font's fights go under a lot, actually. And, sometimes you can find some value. For instance, the Yanez fight was a massive over-under. And anybody who bet violence on that one really cashed out big.
Yep. No, we're on the right. We're on the right side. I didn't want to pull up Tapology because I was getting some crazy ads. I was getting Huggies. I was getting like a Stark State. I mean, I already graduated college. How does that resonate with me? I graduated college already. I don't know. The ads they're just too much for me. Flip the page. We'll get there, Dixon. We'll get there. I want the over. I would lean over 2, but like I said, it's minus 425. 425.
Yikes, minus 425 for a men's fight?
425, yes.
What?
Yep.
That's bonkers.
It's hefty.
Jeez.
Very, very hefty.
Both of these guys have got power.
Yep. And Gene has a solid sub game as well.
Yeah.
All right. Yes, it is. All right. We have 515 of you guys hanging out. If you guys have not already, be sure to smash the like button, pipe it up. Pipe up that like button, just like poor Dylan Budka got piped on site last night by Edmund Shabazian. First round knockout win for Edmund Shabazian. Piped him up. So pipe up the like button just like he did Dylan Budka. Pretend Dylan Budka is the like button. Pretend you're Edmund Shabazian and punch that like button and knock it out of the park, guys. All right. Let's move on to the co-main event, which is the people's main event here. We got Brendan Allen going against Anthony Fluffy Hernandez. We got Brendan Allen, 29 years old, 6'2" with a 75-inch reach. Anthony Hernandez, 31 years old, 6 foot with a 75-inch reach. We got Allen, 2 years younger. He's going to have a 3-inch height advantage and the same reach between the two. Brendan Allen is 4-1 in his last 5 fights, was on a hot run up until his last fight. He had a submission win against Andre Muniz in the third, a submission win against Bruno Silva in the first, a submission win against Paul Craig in the third, a decision win against Chris Curtis over 5 rounds, and then a decision loss to Nasruddin Imavov. As far as Anthony Hernandez, 5-0 in his last 5 fights, decision win against Josh Fremd, submission win against Marc-Andre Barrio in the third, a knockout win against Emmett Shabazian in the third, a submission win against Roman Kopylov in the second, and then a knockout win against Michel Pereira, I believe, in the 5th round. Weezy, I'm going to kick it to you. I got to take the biggest piss of my life. Take it away.
Yeah, this is such a great fight. I'm such a massive fan of the way that Hernandez fights, and it's going to be interesting to see who can beat this guy, because I don't know how. I'm really not sure how you do it, because he's incredibly durable on the feet. So it's going to be hard to knock this guy out. He's been hurt to the body twice in the UFC when he lost to Perez and Holland, and that was what finished the fights, were the body shots. But he seems to have, kind of gotten stronger to the body, and he's doing, I've seen him take some good shots to the body and not react like he did in those losses. So Hernandez's pace is his best weapon. He attempts 15 takedowns per 15 minutes. Every minute, this guy is attempting a takedown, and he gets 6.7 of them. So the middleweight average for takedowns per 15 minutes is 1.4 takedowns per 15 minutes. Hernandez gets 6.7. Brendan Allen gets 1.6. So Brendan Allen gets about an average amount of takedowns. So Hernandez is going to wrestle offensively, and he's going to control you on the mat. He's got 55% takedown defense, does Brendan Allen, and Hernandez only has 65% takedown defense in his own right. So if these guys want to wrestle, they're probably going to be able to get takedowns on each other. But it's always Hernandez that's the one that's pressuring. He's always throwing. He's just such a high volume fighter. There's constant offense coming at you. And while he's not particularly defensively sound, the best defense is a good chin. And he has that. Allen is 12-3 in the UFC. This guy's record is phenomenal. He's been in there against the better brand of competition, in my opinion, especially lately. When you look at the last 5 names, I think that, Hernandez has been fighting just a small notch below where Brendan Allen's been fighting. And with Allen, he's a phenomenal grappler, a great back taker. He can win some minutes there, but the Malkoun fight, we see him getting taken down and controlled a lot. In the Nasruddin Imavov fight, he goes out there, he gets a takedown in round 1, wins round 1 easily. Then he's trying to get takedowns in the second and third round, and he's getting stuffed. He's getting reversed and winding up underneath Imavov. And what happened then? Couldn't get back up. That was a problem. So Brendan Allen is winning about 61% of the control time positions in his fights, while Anthony Hernandez is winning 82%. And as great of a grappler as Brendan Allen is, it's not like we haven't seen Anthony Hernandez with a great grappler on his back. Rodolfo Vieira took him down, got to his back in the first round, and that probably should have been a wrap. But Hernandez never panicked, and he was able to get out of there. And then once he did, and once Vieira started to slow down, you saw Hernandez do what he does best, and that's just break dudes in half with his pressure, his offense, and his constant volume. This dude never fucks off. And if you've been betting on him, dude, you've been laughing your fucking ass off. This guy is not just cashing bets. I mean, he's cashing them easily, and he's dominating people. He's probably one of the most exciting fighters in any division right now in the UFC. And he's such a unique commodity because he's not the best striker. He's not like a Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu black belt phenom. He's a guy that just brings constant offense. And it's so difficult to deal with because his submission defense is good. His chin is reliable. and he's able to land good strikes in his own right, but his wrestling and his ability to be able to control his opponents, only less than 30% of his UFC octagon time takes place at distance striking range. This guy is going to make you grapple, and he's got better cardio than everybody in the division. So I'm a fan of Fluffy here. I think this line is probably where it should be, which is crazy because Brendan Allen is a phenomenal fighter. But he's already beaten him once. Fluffy already beat Brendan Allen.
Yep. I still need to tape this fight, but I already kind of know which way I'm leaning, and that would be towards the Fluffy side. But yeah, these guys did fight 7 years ago in LFA. I want to go back and watch that one. I think both are completely different fighters now, kind of. I think Allen's improved a ton since then. Even Fluffy has as well. But going to go back and watch that. But yeah, I am leaning Hernandez. Still need to tape this one, though. Hernandez opened up minus 400, currently minus 275. Allen opened up plus 330, currently plus 235. Over under set at 2.5. The over 2.5 is minus 150. The under 2.5, it was plus 150. Now it's plus 120. I don't have a strong take on the total, but like I said, I need to look into this one a little bit more because Fluffy is getting a lot of finishes, but against kind of breakable fighters. Like even Michelle Pereira lasted 5 rounds. Kopylov kind of breakable. Shabazian very breakable. I don't know if he finishes Allen, but if he does, it is probably late 3rd round.
Yeah, it's only a 3-round fight, but
yeah,
I just didn't like how Allen was, losing the takedowns to Malkoun. How he, after round 1, was unable to get back on top of Imavov again. And if that's, if you're not out wrestling Imavov, what's Hernandez going to do to you?
Yeah, he looked awful in the Imavov fight. The worst he's ever looked. I'm not sure if he was sick or hurt, but he looked off. Let's see. Defeating Michelle. Yeah, that's a good win.
Yeah.
Very solid win. But this would be a phenomenal win for Anthony Hernandez. Allen's legit himself. Fluffy most takedowns minus 350. Are those takedown lines out yet? Not yet.
I don't see how they could possibly be, but he's gonna
guessing. Yeah.
Yeah,
I think that would be a lock, pretty much. Hernandez is a lock. We shall see if he loses. Delete that text. I got you. Allen is on the downside of his career. He's only 29. I don't know if we could say that, but what I will say is he looked off in his last fight. But the dude's only 29. I don't think he's on his way out. Allen sucks. I also don't know about that. Fluffy will make him his girl. Allen will be forced to What? What is this comment? Everything about this comment is just wrong. I need to start reading stuff before I pull it up. I really need to start reading stuff before I pull it up and start reading it. Shout out to Big Donut. Fluffy's going to make Allen his girl. I've never heard anything like that. And I've been doing content. I'm on my 6th or 7th year. I don't think I've ever heard anybody say that ever. So shout out to Big Donut, bringing in some analysis there. All right, let's move on to the main event, which, like I said, the Allen Hernandez fight was the main event. But we'll talk about Song Yadong, Henry Cejudo. We got Henry Cejudo, 38 years old, 5'4", with the 64-inch reach. Song Yadong, 27 years old, 5'8", with the 67-inch reach. Song Yadong, 11 years younger, 4-inch height advantage, 3-inch reach advantage. Henry Cejudo, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against TJ Dillashaw. Knockout win against Marlon Moraes. And knockout win against Dominic Cruz. Decision losses to Aljamain Sterling and Arad Davalishvili. As far as Song Yadong, 3-2 in his last 5 fights. Knockout win against Marlon Moraes. Knockout loss to Corey Sandhagen. Knockout win against Ricky Simone. Decision win against Chris Gutierrez. And then a decision loss to Piotr Jan. So, yeah, I mean, Henry Cejudo definitely getting up there in age. How long was the layoff between that Cruz fight and the Sterling fight? It had to have been a couple years, right?
Yeah, it was a couple years because he retired.
Yeah, he did.
And then he just wanted to wait for a little bit more money. And I don't know if it necessarily worked out for him, but he took off 3 years, dude. May 9th, 2020 to May 6th, 2023. So that, that's important information. I'm glad you brought that up because him being 38 years old, Song Yadong being listed at 27, but there are people who are saying he's in his 30s. And I mean, if you believe Song Yadong is 27 years old, you are also believing that he turned pro at the age of 15. So, I mean, who knows? But look, he took a round off of Merab last time out, and he had an injured groin. So he went into the fight with a groin injury, Henry Cejudo, went out there and won the first round off of Merab, but then, he lost the last 2 rounds. It's going to be interesting because Song Yadong can get clipped here for sure. So Henry's striking is excellent. And then you have to worry about the wrestling as well. But Song Yadong's takedown defense has gotten a lot better over the years. And we've seen him, be able to get back up when he gets taken down. We've seen him stuff a number of takedowns in recent fights to keep the fight standing. But I'm not sure that he's that much better than Henry Cejudo standing. I'm not sure if he's better at all, actually, because we just know that Henry's been here longer and he's been a 2-division champion and, a gold medalist in the Olympics. The guy is a competitor and he's competed at the highest level and he's always excelled. So this is an interesting fight because it's one of those ones where you're either taking the much younger guy with, a lot more upside going forward. And then if you're betting on Cejudo, you're kind of like saying, come on, Henry, one more time. Give me one more really good effort here. But we don't know if he has it in him. We don't know if he's showing up for a check at this point. At 38 years old, it's a tough road to hoe against a more experienced guy in Song Yadong who's got a ton of fights, dude. Look at that, 31 fights, as a professional and very active as well. So I'm probably leaning Song here, but I think that this fight's going to play out real close. But the bookies seem to think that it's going to be a little bit one-sided.
Yeah, it's just hard to trust Cejudo at 38 years old. Did you see his recent interview?
Song or
Cejudo, the dude was like smoking the entire interview.
Weed?
I don't know if it's weed. I'm watching it now.
Cigar, maybe?
Somebody said it was a cigar. I don't know, but he was smoking, drinking something. I don't know if he's drinking a tea or looked like either a tea or a Four Loko. I don't know what he's doing. And the interview was like 2 days ago. The dude's smoking. He's not Carlos Praches.
So yeah, no, he's not, man. No, he's not.
So you don't like to see that. I mean, smoking again, he's not Praches. Yeah, I got to go Song Yadong, but it is a hefty price to pay. You open at minus 225, currently minus 260. Cejudo opened up plus 190, currently plus 220. This over is juiced to the tits. Actually, no, it was, I thought, but now it's not. The over, it was minus 185. It's now minus 145. The under opened up plus 155. It's now plus 115. So money's pouring in on the under, actually, there. So money coming in on the under. I would imagine this fight goes the distance, but both these guys have power.
Yeah, they certainly do. Henry dropped Merab in the first round when they fought. And I mean, obviously Song's got bricks for hands. The dude hits really hard. So yeah, it's just, I would love to get to a Cejudo play here, but he's 38, man. He's a 38-year-old bantamweight. I'm trying not to do that's why I didn't bet Cannonier last night, and I probably should have, because I feel the similar way about this fight in that I think that Cejudo's the better tested fighter with a little bit more well-rounded of a skill set, in my opinion. And I think that Henry's striking constantly gets underrated.
Yeah, I'm probably not going to get there, but yep, we'll see. We'll see. Let's see here. Fluffy will pipe him real good.
Yeah.
Let's see. Song pipes Henry. Cejudo's going to get piped by Yadong. I got Dong to rise up and go hard on Triple C. Cejudo is such value. Yadong's boxing is overrated. All he does is wing hooks. Piotr Jan was addicted to losing and still outworked and out-wrestled Yadong. Cejudo got this plus money, baby. He's big plus money. Cejudo will get piped on site by Colton G. Yeah, Colton G is you don't want to mess with that guy and his homies especially. Did we just say Thong Yudong? I don't believe so. Did you?
No, I did not. At least I don't think I did.
I don't think so either. Sedong got blue chew. Okay. So Cejudo's checked out. I'm leaning that way myself. This dude, he retired. He retired. He was off for 3 years.
Yeah.
Now he's smoking whatever he's smoking. I don't know. All right. So yeah, we have a couple of things to do. So we went through all 11 fights. This card is just madness, man. So many canceled fights, so many short notice replacements. But wait, what we need to do now is come up with a Stat Diggers parlay. Last week we hit it. We had Jose Delgado check, the over 2.5 in the main event check came through. We are now 3-2 on the Stat Diggers parlays, and then we are 1-0 officially on the Stat Diggers on-site piping of the week. Shout out to Jose Delgado for piping Connor Matthews on-site. So we need to come up with a Stat Diggers parlay and an on-site piping, and it's going to be tough. We have Modestus Bukauskas at -365. We have Mansour Abdul Malik at -800. We have Javid Basharat at -310. We got Nursultan Ruzaboev at -300. We have Ibo Oslon at -155. Feely at -125. Menefield at -160. Gene Silva at -560. Gene Matsumoto at -205. Anthony Hernandez at -275. And Song Yudong at -260. What are you thinking? Anything you like for a parlay piece? I think I have one in mind that I don't hate.
I got one that I really like. I don't know if we're on the same page here, but I think you know what I'm going to say.
Well, I'm kind of leaning with the total that I don't mind.
Oh, okay, yeah. Fluffy fucking Hernandez is going to win.
All right, Fluffy -275, which is a wide line. So let's fatten up a little bit. What do you say? And let's go with the under 1.5 in the Menefield Julius Walker fight.
Yes.
I think somebody's probably getting piped in that fight there. So there'll be some good plus money. And then now we need an on-site piping of the week. For me, there's two candidates here, Weezy. For me, I think there's two candidates. I think Mansour Abdul Malik is going to pipe Klein, pipe him on site, and I also think that Gene Silva is going to pipe Melsik Bagdasarian on site. I think somebody's getting piped in the Menefield Walker fight, but it could go either way. The same thing with Calaba Oslon. Somebody's getting piped there. Somebody probably gets piped in the Nursultan fight as well. I think there's a lot of pipings, but for me, it's either Abdul Malik or Gene Silva, which they're both wide lines, but a piping is a piping, right?
Yeah, piping's a piping, and I think it's Gene Silva for me, just because I think he's fighting a much worse opponent than Drew Dober with the last guy that he beat. Then Bagdasarian's just a year and a half away from the cage, so inactive, and really kind of one-dimensional, very low volume striker. So yeah, I think Gene Silva's going to pipe him on site.
What is Silva's nickname? Is it Lord?
Lord, yeah.
All right. The on-site piping of the week, Gene Lord.
Let's go.
I messed that up. There we go. Come on, StreamYard, you're killing me. Okay, there it is. On-site piping of the week, Gene Lord Silva. There you have it. Gene Silva is going to pipe this guy up. Gene Silva, Kudalaba fight under 1.5 round. Yeah, I also don't mind the Kudalaba fight under as well. I don't mind that. Let's see. All right. What could go wrong? Basharat Bukauskas.
Yeah. For sure. Nothing could go wrong.
What can go wrong? So
-150 probably.
Oh, jeez. All right, Weezy, we did it. Other than that, let the people know where they can find you and what you got going on for UFC Seattle.
So as you could see today, I haven't even finished the stat sheet because of all the changes. So I've got I've got to update the stat sheet. I've got to tape a bunch of fights. I've got to get my stat package out for 2 weeks from now. I'm going to be busting my ass for the next 48 hours here, trying to catch up after a long weekend of partying. But yeah, I'm looking forward to this card. It's going to be some fun fights. And once these props get out and once I've started taping the fights, because I'm woefully not prepared for this show tonight, you guys, my apologies for that. But I don't apologize for taking some time off this weekend and seeing my brother and having a great time. So yeah, I'm going to be doing my usual content. Check me out on either Thursday night or Friday afternoon for Just a Tip with Uncle Weezy and with the Greasy 4-Leg Parlay. And I will be doing my Patreon and Dub Club only content on Wednesday of this week. And yeah, check me out on the Patreon, on the Dub Club. Check me out at MMA Weezy on Twitter. Let's stack cashed tickets like flapjacks for UFC Seattle. And let's see Jean Silva just pipe this dude on sight, Brady.
Yep. He doesn't even need his homies.
Nope.
Just can do it himself. There we go. All right. Yeah, thank you guys so much for watching. If you guys could on your way out, subscribe to the channel. I'll be getting out my full card breakdown tomorrow. I need to look into the fluffy fight in the main event a little bit more and then get that out. Other than that, I do want to shout out all of you guys really in the chat. You guys killed it tonight. Ton of donos as well. Shout out to Yitro. Shout out to our guy Avery. Shout out to Bub Collins. Shout out to Just Win Baby. Shout out to Daz. Shout out to Gus. Shout out to Justin. Appreciate you guys. Appreciate you guys at the time. So yeah, best of luck, and we'll talk to you guys soon. See you later.